from the snowy mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world. Merry Christmas, my friends. This is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair live at SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show, including Kingdom of Nye Radio and Revolution Radio. If you want to take a listen to our archives, they are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot. Do a little shopping at the SOR Vault. We got great books that we read the night. Join the Space Travelers for $5 a month. And Captain Shirk has you updated on the SOR Newswire daily. Tonight's show is brought to you by CHIVE Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by donating to CHIVE Charities today. You can find them on our website. Tonight, as we watch and follow Santa Claus making his way through North America as we speak, we look to the stars and wonder about ET contact. Samantha Mowat joins us this Christmas Eve to talk about her contact and the idea of manifesting your own interactions with extraterrestrials. Is it safe? Should we be trying this out? Is it even possible? Now, Samantha and I have some pretty cool history together, as my first ET encounter happened with her just 25 minutes after meeting this young lady back on April 15th, 2014. This young, talented woman is the real deal, and in my opinion, the best-kept secret in ufology today. Her website, samanthamowat.ca. Then at the bottom of hour number 3, I'm going to give you a shout-out on the SOR Newswire, Captain Shirk, because you do a great job, and thank you so much for keeping us updated nightly. Samantha Mowat, good friend of mine, thank you so much for joining us on this Christmas Eve and Christmas Day for those on the East Coast. How are you?
Hi, Dave. Happy Christmas. I'm really well. I'm thoroughly entertained, and it's a really fun way to get to spend a Christmas Eve with someone who's really funny and makes it easier, who totally gets the whole Santa thing, so I'm happy to spend it with you.
Well, I appreciate that, and I got to give a shout-out here. I got to give a shout-out to a couple of people, because down in Las Vegas, near Area 51, Cousin Chad, Cousin Lisa, and Uncle Nickon and Auntie Mary are listening on in tonight. They're huddled by the furnace because it's probably 65 degrees down there, and that's, winter jacket weather in the Nevada desert. So much love to my family down in Nevada tonight. And, of course, Hot Toddy and his family up in Dawson Creek, British Columbia. Love you. Merry Christmas to you guys as well. So I got my shout-outs out. Family's done. And now we get to talk a little bit about aliens. And that's why we got you here. One of the things that we talked about last night with Olaf Phillips was about synchronicities. Mm-hmm. And you and I, in the 5+ years that we have known each other, have had so many different synchronicities when it comes to talking about extraterrestrials or UFOs or everything. Let's give a little bit of a rundown for people who may not have heard your story before, how you got involved with this, because literally this has been lifelong for you.
Yes, it has. Well, for me, it's a little bit different than a lot of people in ufology, because I've grown up with a very supportive family, of course, being raised by contactees and being raised by people who are very open about psychic development and psychic abilities, going to school on craft. It made it so that my understanding of the extraterrestrial multidimensional contact was different than that of what the standard ET contactee, abductee, or experiencer will have. And the reason why I bring that part up, Dave, is for a lot of people who are going through contact, they are very isolated. They don't have someone they can talk to about all of this. They don't have people that they really feel safe talking to about what they're perceiving, or the beings who may be coming in through vortexes or taking them up onto their craft at night. And because I have stuff like that, like the really good family support system, it's been easier for me to come out of that ET closet than it is for most people, as you're very well aware. It's actually because of a mutual friend of ours, Johnny Enoch, that I even came out of the ET closet. I had kept a lot of this just between myself and my family for a very long time. But it was when you and I went to our first UFO conference to speak together that I actually did come out of the closet. What part are you curious about? Where would you like me to go into?
Well, for you, it started literally as an infant. Mm-hmm. And, this is something that you have had to work your own life around. Many people out there, the majority, I would say, Samantha, have never had a life like that and would not understand what it's like to live a life full of ET contact, where literally since the time you were in the crib, they've been visiting.
Mm-hmm. Well, when you go through ET contact, there's a certain degree of normality that comes with it for you. So, for instance, if you were to take a child and to raise that child with a certain animal, let's say dogs, that child will become accustomed to the ways of the dogs. They'll know how to interact with the dogs. And for them, having a dog coming in and out of their life is perfectly normal. Whereas a child who doesn't have dogs in their life, who's raised without pets, if they suddenly have an experience with a dog, they won't know how to anticipate it or how to deal with it. And so ET contact is very similar. For me, it was very normal to go through windows, to be taken up onto crafts from my ceiling, to find myself sleepwalking and finding myself outside or with my hand on the door in the middle of the night or having moments of missing time. For me, that's a completely normal experience and not necessarily something that causes panic, anxiety, or stuff like that. It's fairly normal for me when I'm in certain places, visiting certain family members even, to be going about my day-to-day life, even in the middle of the afternoon, to walk around a corner and to see an ET being standing there, and then to find myself a little while later walking out of that room, going back upstairs type thing. And that is just part of the contact experience for people like myself. When you're looking at the way contact is, you can roughly break contact down into 3 primary components. You have psychic contact, astral contact, and physical contact, with the most common of which actually being astral contact for the majority of people. Physical contact takes a lot of deliberate orchestration on part of the beings. They have to determine whether they're going to have a craft showing up, whether they're using vortex technology, whether they are going to be teleporting into an area. There's a lot of different variables that need to be prearranged prior to a being coming in to see a person on a physical level. So that is something that you do have to take into consideration, Dave. Now, for a lot of other people, go ahead. I can feel it. Go ahead. I'll wait.
You know what? For our audience, this is going to happen all night long. Literally, Samantha will know when I want to say something, and she'll just stop herself. She'll be like, Dave, what do you want to say? What do you want to say? You put so much pressure on me when you do that. I forget. I always forget.
I'm sorry.
No, I know. It's just so weird. But when you are a child going through this, and for you this is normal, for society it is not, how were you able to protect yourself so that way you weren't going to, a bunch of psychiatrists or psychologists or getting in trouble at school or having troubles finding friends? How did that work for you?
Well, I have a few distinct advantages that most people do not have. Being raised by contactees meant that my parents would do things like we would watch movies together that had different ET beings in it, whether it was Star Trek, Star Wars, the movie The Extraterrestrial by Steven Spielberg, stuff like that, and they would talk to me about, hey, these are different beings. It's okay. You're allowed to interact with them. That's totally normal. They shared their contact experiences and weird paranormal experiences with me, making my understanding of it more normalized. It was something... With a lot of families, you have to look at the fact that there are certain things that you're allowed to talk to your parents about that your parents say maybe don't talk to other people about this. And for me, that came up when I was very little and in elementary school. My parents had bought me a bunch of these black hardcover books, and I was very, very small, based on things like astral projection, psychic abilities, Wicca and witchcraft, because a lot of my past life memories and understanding had come forward. And one of the books I had brought to school when I was very little was a book about UFOs. It was my show and tell book. And I learned quite young, I think it was like grade 3, grade 4, something like that, when I was showing my class this book about UFOs and it had a UFO on the cover, and I was so excited to share them because I had seen these things and I had been on these things. And I remember the kids in my class, their energy just wrapping around themselves going, what is she talking about? What is she trying to share with us? This is just weird. And because I wasn't bringing like a Barbie or a car or Pogs or something ridiculous like in the early 90s. And so because of that, I learned very quickly in that moment that maybe this is something I can't share with my friends. Maybe this is something I can't really share with those that I go to school with. And that was okay because I had done that at a very young age. I didn't go through what a lot of people go through where they start to have a lot of their awakening in their mid-teenagehood. Because if I went through my awakening in my mid-teenagehood rather than starting when I was quite young. The anxiety with it, the lack of understanding as you're coming to that conscious awareness of the experiencer lifestyle and the experiencer way of going about things, it would have been a much more difficult process. And so I've been very fortunate to have a lot of these memories coming forward and maintaining themselves with me to a stronger degree than most people have. Because of who my parents are, they're really wonderful people in so many ways. They sooner gave me these books to understand what I was going through than taking me to see like a religious leader, like a church leader, or a psychologist, because they knew I was mentally stable. I even have, I kid you not, a note from my doctor saying, like my family doctor, the one who helped deliver my sister, that I've always been mentally stable, which is kind of funny to have that note, but I needed it to go to a certain school I was considering going to, having a psychological evaluation done. And so anyways, the reason why I bring this part up is because they didn't feel the need to take me to a counselor or a therapist because they knew I was fine. It helped to give me a better understanding that my parents would always look at our mental health, that they would always have red flags that they would be looking for. Because a lot of people who go through this, even if you go through it from a young age, sometimes you just can't handle it. And that's okay. Because it can be very stressful for someone emotionally and mentally to go through contact. There's so much about the contact experience that you just can't share with a lot of people because they're not going to relate. Dave, think of the wonderful conversations you and I have had over the years. I've talked to you about some concepts, and even though you hear about this stuff, and even though you've had your own experiences, sometimes you look at me like, this is going right over my head, sweetheart. I have no idea. You know what I mean?
Very true. Very true.
And can you imagine not having those friendships in place that you can bounce those ideas and understandings off of? I understand how it's a very isolating process for most people.
Absolutely it is. And it can be very scary, especially if you're having to do it alone. And for me, with what's happened to me over the last few years, including our experience that you and I shared back in April of 2014, you know, a lot of people would look at that and say, yeah, that's not real. Because it sounds unbelievable. And society dictates that that is supposed to be unbelievable.
But that's where society loses people like me, because I look at a lot of things that society as a whole believes in are, like, I'm not trying to step on toes, but a lot of the ideologies that we tend to be fixated on, looking at these wonderful beings, whether it's Jesus, Buddha, Krishna, you name it, all these beings who did these incredible, miraculous things. Why is it we are able to believe in these, yet we cannot believe something as simple as life from other dimensions or other planets simply coming here and having interactions with us? The level of cognitive dissonance that is occurring within humanity baffles me. Although,
well, I mean, I don't think it's a lack of people not believing. I think there's a lot more people out there, Samantha, especially today with what's going on, that want to believe. They just want, in their opinion, to see that proof. And whatever that proof is different for absolutely everybody. I don't need proof because I've had proof. Happened to me. Other people are like that as well, but there are others that say, you know, we need science, we need breakdowns, we need videos, we need the President of the United States to come out and say this stuff is real. They need that sort of concrete proof because they've never experienced something so surreal in their lives. And that's what I think the big difference is. I'm with you. I think there's enough proof out there to say this is very, very real, and we need to start taking this a lot more seriously.
Of course.
There's the crowd out there who says, not enough.
And I appreciate them doing that. You know, I'm full-heartedly agreeing with the whole there should be proof and we shouldn't just accept things on blind faith. I don't agree with doing blind faith alone. But we must take into consideration things like the Honourable Paul Hellyer of Canada has come forward saying that Canada's had interactions with, 4 or 6 different types of species. In France, they play videos of UFO things in the sky, seen within places like Mexico. I mean, we have a lot of different countries in the world doing a bit of a soft disclosure going on, but a lot of this isn't getting the media attention, unfortunately, with the Vatican included, saying, I'm not sure if it was this Pope or the previous Pope who said that if ETs come forward, they'd gladly baptize them. I mean, what does it say when something as large as the Vatican is acknowledging the possibility of ET contact and ET interaction with humanity?
Okay, so in your opinion, why are people so scared? Why is the fear still there?
To be very honest with you, I hate to say it, but I do blame the media. And I don't mean that in a rude way, but I mean just the way our societal programming is going with a lot of the movies that we have. Humans enjoy the thrill factor. We enjoy being a little bit scared by things. And unfortunately, it seems like a lot of what the movies that we have in place currently at this time are focused upon the possibility of extraterrestrial invasion, with the invasion being of a negative connotation.
So because of that, you believe, and I'm not saying you're right or wrong here, but you believe that it's the identity. It's almost like identity politics, where the identity of extraterrestrials has become more of a malevolent nature rather than something positive, which we saw in the 70s and 80s with movies like Close Encounter of the Third Kind or The Abyss or E.T.
Of course, and that's part of what I agree with you full-heartedly, like with what you're making reference to right there is I believe the culture surrounding the extraterrestrial contact has been unfortunately more towards the negative aspect. But I can understand why it's going that way, because a lot of people look at something so foreign, and I hate to be this punny, but alien to them, and they can't quite understand the relationship of how, like, these beings could possibly be good for us. And you know what? They're not all good for us, and we do have to use discernment as a whole and individually. Yes, there are good beings. Yes, there are bad beings. It's the same thing like people. But that's why it's very important for you to look at the various ways in which contact is occurring. And contact's occurring in every race, every religion, every economic group. It does not matter really what you have as an affiliation as far as your belief system is concerned. The main things that I've noticed in regards to people who contact me, who are going through the contact experience with these different multidimensional beings, is that a lot of them are going through different kinds of contact. Most of them are not just going through one aspect. When we talked earlier about psychic contact versus astral versus physical, a lot of people are going through either psychic contact or astral contact. A lot aren't having the physical contact as frequently. And I believe that a lot of people who are looking for quote-unquote proof, which I do appreciate, are wanting to have physical contact and physical proof. But you have to remember, Dave, like, look at what happened with you and I in the woods. We both had smartphones. Did we take our smartphones out? No. Did we take photos?
Didn't even think about
No.
it. Didn't even think about it.
Exactly. And I wish that people would have a better understanding of that, is when you see these beings, half the time you're in such a altered state. And it's not because they're doing hypnosis on you. It's not because they're doing energy projection towards you necessarily. It's just, it can be so dumbfounding for you in that moment that something as simple as taking your cell phone and be like, oh my goodness, 300 feet away from us is two giant beings, let's film this, just simply does not occur to you.
No, and the way I've always put that is your mind cannot comprehend what your eyes are seeing. Mm-hmm. And when you're going through something like that, it's traumatic. I'm not saying it's scary, okay?
No.
But it's traumatic enough to make you forget the simplest things that are going on. Now, I'm not saying that there are people out there who haven't filmed anything because they have bigger stones than I do, but when that happened with Samantha and I, the last thing I thought about was, oh, I'm going to take out my phone. I'm going to film this. Oh, this is good stuff. I got to get this on tape. You know, I'm too busy trying to figure out what the hell it is that I am seeing. You know, for her, it was everyday norm. Like, oh yeah, this is nothing new. You know, we'll go back inside the house after this little experience is done and have a glass of tea. Whereas old Davey here is trying to figure out where his mummy is hiding at this time. Oh yeah, that's the way it broke down. It's the way it broke down. I'll tell you, I wouldn't have wanted to experience that with anybody else, though. I can honestly say that.
And that's really sweet of you to say, but I mean, looking back at it now, don't you wish that you had walked with me when I said, hey, let's go walk over and go see them?
Yes, don't. I think about that moment. So let's break that down for people as we got about 4 minutes left before we go to break at the bottom of the hour. Samantha Mowat is our guest on this Christmas Eve, early Christmas Day show for all of you on Spaced Out Radio. Now, when we saw these beings, the one telepathically communicates with Samantha and says, basically, come on over. We're not here to take you. We're not here to harm you. However, we are worried about the man's health. So Samantha starts down the path. And old Davy literally begged her to stay. Begged her to stay because I was not heading back to that house without Samantha. And looking back on it now, they weren't going to take us. They were not going to take us. that would have been the ultimate encounter. And you know the worst part about it is I kick myself in the butt every single day about that, because it's probably one of those experiences that will never happen again. And I realize you always say never say never. Okay, you just got to ask for it. You got to manifest it, and we're going to get into manifesting tonight. But I think about that almost every day ever since then, in 5.5 years, because there is nothing more that I would love than to have that experience back.
I can agree with that one, but I mean, that's why I always tell people, go camping, go out in the woods, go somewhere where there's less people around, because I've found in my experience, whenever we go camping, because we go into some pretty isolated spots, contact almost always occurs, because there's people, like, there's no one around you. You're not having the people who are fear-based, the people who are going to shoot the beings that they suddenly show up here in person. You're not having the people around that are going to have a heart attack. It's just, you have just the vibration of the people who are wanting to have this contact, going out and being in a place where they can have contact on more of a physical nature. It's still freaky, though. I'm not going to lie. It would still be freaky to have that happen. But yeah, I know I would definitely handle it differently than what I did in the past. That is completely fair. And I mean, for you, Dave, it might be more beneficial to go with just adults rather than going with the family aspect, because just being a parent, it can throw off your vibration when it comes to the protective need for you when it comes to your children. True. That's all. It's something people should take into consideration when they're trying to invoke contact or work with it. But I mean, there are a lot of different ways we can go into contact. And when we come back after the break, I'd love to start breaking it down for people, how they can start initiating contact. Oh, let's do that, because I know there's a lot of people out there that would love to have something happen. They'd love to, whether it's lights in the sky or a little gray standing beside their bed saying, "Hey, how are you? Let's go for a ride." They want something to happen. They really do. And I think the more advanced we get, Samantha, as we got about 45 seconds here, I think the more advanced that we get, the more people want this to happen for themselves. But that's the thing. We're having contact occur to more of humanity now than we had 50 years ago, because of the evolution of contact that we're going through. We are becoming more psychic as a race. Our collective consciousness is developing this acceptance of the contact nature. And so your ability to have contact is at a greater likelihood than it was 50, 100 years ago. This is wonderful. It is wonderful. Scary, but wonderful. And you know, it's funny, as we head out to break here, every time I get to see Samantha, I find my eyes wandering. Why are they wandering? It's not that I'm not trying to pay attention to her, but I know that something is around, and I want to see it. It's your fault. You have bred this into me, Samantha. You have totally bred this into me. Samantha Mowat is our guest tonight. Her website, samanthamowat.ca. How to manifest ET contact. Coming up next on Spaced Out Radio.
Hey, space travelers, this is John Resig, founder of the CHIVE and CHIVE Charities. If you know anything about our website, you know we like to do things a little differently. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. Our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor with Spaced Out Radio's official charity, CHIVE Charities, just go to chivecharities.org/donate.
From the heartlands of Canada to beards around the world, we know how to take care of you. Fill your follicles with the Mighty Moose Beard Oil. All our oils and balms are handmade and 100% natural ingredients because we care about your beard. And hey, use the promo code SOR2019 and get your Mighty Moose Beard Oil today. You can check us out on our website,
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot THAL, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Finish off your weekend and kick off your new week with me, Everett Themer, right here on Spaced Out Sundays. I'm going to bring you great guests, a little bit of snark, and plenty of information to think about. But don't worry, there's going to be plenty of woo as well. We are going to hit everything in the paranormal and supernatural, including the odd psychic Sundays. So tune us in on Sunday, 9:06 p.m. Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, right here at spacedoutradio.com.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Every night on Spaced Out Radio, we have places for you to hang out. Hi, this is Carl. Join our SOR Space Travelers group on Facebook for live chat. On Twitter, using hashtag Spaced Out Radio, you can also join us in our Spreaker chat room. Check us out on Instagram at Dave Scott SOR. All of our archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. By the way, I'll be watching you at your window until you do. Bye!
We're adding to the entertainment online for Spaced Out Radio. I'm Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out Cryptid Tales, where I will take you on a journey into some of the strangest legends and lore from around the world, relaying the stories to you of the strange creatures and experiences that people have had throughout time. You can find Cryptid Tales at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio, and while you're there, don't forget to check out our free archives and leave a comment. See you there.
Are you having encounters with the paranormal, supernatural, or ufological that you cannot explain? Look no further than the SOR Sightlines Report, brought to you by the Experiencers Support Association. This is Ryan Stacy, head of the Research Association, TESA. Soon on the Spaced Out Radio website, you'll be able to file your reports and have them researched for you. We are independent and ready to help Spaced Out Radio listeners today.
Move over, brother, and let me own Saturday night. This is Rich Giordano, and I'm inviting you to tune on in to Spaced Out Saturdays starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, 12 a.m. Eastern, where I'm going to bust open the lids on everything paranormal. Why? Because we want answers, and I'm the guy who's going to deliver those answers to you. Join the chat rooms, and we'll see you this Saturday. Just be there. No, really.
Hey everybody, the SOR Space Travelers is open. For just $5 a month, you can hang out with Dave and our crew privately in our members-only section. With your signing, you'll receive newsletters on what's going on with Spaced Out Radio. You'll have direct contact with the host during the show in our chat, live streaming videos, and a great forum for your posts and more. Become a Space Traveler now at spacedoutradio.com.
You wanted new SOR gear, and now you can have it. The SOR Vault is fully stocked with t-shirts, hats, hoodies, mugs, and everything in between, with great logos for you to choose from. So head on over to spacedoutradio.com, click on the SOR Vault, and go shopping. Pricing is quite affordable, and you can look good representing your favorite show. So go to our website and pick up your new SOR wear at the SOR Vault today.
Looking for something new to push your limits? Look Beyond the Spectrum, a new docuseries featuring some of the best researchers in the world when it comes to everything from UFOs, government cover-ups, and Bigfoot in the forest. Truth seekers like Steve Bassett, Dr. Jeff Meldrum, Richard Dolan, as well as others all chip in to bring their knowledge to you. Beyond the Spectrum can be found on Amazon as well as Tubi TV. Tell us what you think on our Amazon page.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Welcome back to the second half hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters live this Christmas Eve, early Christmas morning. If you're on the East Coast, really appreciate you tuning us in, and we're glad to be here for all of you. Reminder, if you've missed portions of this show or others, you can always check out our free archives at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, do a little shopping at the SOR Vault. Grab a great book at We Read the Night. Join the Space Travelers for $5 a month. And of course, Captain Shirk has us updated daily on the SOR Newswire. Samantha Mowat is here tonight, entertaining us with how to contact extraterrestrials. Samantha is a lifelong ET contactee, one of my good friends who I've personally had experience with in ET face-to-face encounters. Her website, samanthamowat.ca. Samantha, welcome back.
Hi, Dave. Thank you so much for having me once again.
Oh, no problem. No problem. Manifestation. How do we do it? Can we contact ETs and say, hey, I want to talk with you guys. I want to see you guys. Can we do that?
Of course we can. A lot of the beings that we perceive to be extraterrestrial are actually multidimensional in nature, meaning that they don't actually come from the star systems that are within our dimensional plane. They actually come from different dimensions, but the general area in which we have a lot of our current constellations, whether it's the Pleiades, the Orion, Alpha Draconis, doesn't matter. They're roughly having homes that are within those general locations, but on a different frequency. Think of a book, and with each page representing a different dimension, how you just have to shift the frequency that you're operating at to go up to a higher vibration, to a different dimension, or lower your vibration. And so in order for us to actually have contact with a lot of these beings, it is easiest to initiate contact on your level through either psychic contact, which is you developing your psychic abilities, which is actually quite simple. You can go onto YouTube. There are thousands of people that have YouTube videos out there teaching you how to become more psychic. You can go buy a psychic development book, and you can do things like that to increase your ability to do telepathy or automatic writing. Putting yourself into a deep meditation is a wonderful way to increase your consciousness, to help to connect with all these beings, because most of them are more psychically inclined than us, which isn't very hard. We're kind of like goldfish that way. But the other thing that you can do to help raise your ability to contact these beings is by increasing your vibrational frequency. What a lot of people don't realize is that depending upon what your vibration is doing, a lot of people operate within a very narrow bandwidth for what they can perceive. Everyone is psychic, yes, but you'll notice when you look back at periods of your life that you have moments, whether it's days, weeks, or months, where you were more psychically inclined. And this is because your vibrational frequency had a greater range than what it normally operates with. And so to raise your vibration, to increase your ability to hear angels, guides, connect with Sasquatch, connect with the multidimensionals and the ETs is very simple. Cut out crap like alcohol, decrease the amount of sugar you're having, try to limit the amount of animal products you're having, so dairy, fish, eggs, meat, stuff like that. Try to go with higher vibrational foods, things that are more akin to organic fruits and veggies, things that naturally open your psychic pathways up, because it allows for not only your pineal gland to calcify, but it allows for your ability to harness your own vibrational frequency, to perceive the vibrational frequencies that are coming in, which is very important for your telepathy and for your downloads of information, your claircognizance, but it's also important for your ability to sense on an empathic level or a clairsentient level when something is sending its consciousness into your space. For instance, Dave, a lot of the time, with yourself included, you will sense that there's a being near you. You can be outside having a cigarette or outside looking at the stars, and you can be like, wow, I know I'm not alone right now. I don't see anything, but I can sense that something is looking at me, that something is near me, and this doesn't feel like a squirrel, this doesn't feel like an owl or my dog or a human. You can sense on an intuitive level that the vibration of what is currently observing you is not that of what is something that is standardly there. And so it's important to recognize the intuitive information as you're receiving it, because the more you acknowledge that intuitive information, the more you are able to actually develop your gifts to a stronger extent. When we talked a moment ago about downloads of information, a lot of your listeners have had this before. Well, they'll be going about their day-to-day life, and all of a sudden, they'll be talking to somebody or doing something, and they'll have information coming to them that they could not possibly have known. Like when a family member is getting about to get diagnosed with being very sick, they might be like, oh my goodness, I'm thinking a lot about how like mom keeps popping to my mind, and I keep feeling like something's up with her, and I have no idea what it is, and I feel like something really big is coming, but I can't quite pinpoint it. It could be because you're receiving a download of information from the universe, from beings that you work with, saying, hey, look, this is coming. And it's the same thing with the extraterrestrials and multidimensionals we work with. A lot of the people who feel this need to connect with these beings, their souls are not from this planet. And because they are not actually originally from this planet, they feel this desire to connect with them. And they don't realize that they're naturally more able to do it. They just have to get out of their own way on a mental level. Because people, myself included at times, have blocks in our mind where we're like, okay, I feel like I can't connect right now. I'm too stressed, or I have too much going on, or there's that, or I've just had too crappy of a day. See how there's those little blocks in place that are preventing me from accessing that information and that connection? That's where meditation comes in hand to really being beneficial for helping people to have contact, at least on a psychic level. When we're looking at all this, Dave, especially when it comes to the telepathic aspect, a lot of these beings will begin telepathically communicating with you, but it's important to recognize what is your train of thought versus what is something else. Do you remember that time that you and I were hanging out and you switched over because you got yourself in a light meditative state, and all of a sudden you switched from what was your normal train of thought to my brother Danny's train of thought coming into your head?
Yes, I remember that.
Do you remember how it felt like these thoughts weren't quite yours? Because the way in which you described things and spoke, and the, I guess, the emphasis upon words and the use of certain keywords in particular were different than that of which you would normally use. That is when you're getting telepathic information coming into your head and you're sharing it with someone else, being a channel. Everyone can do this. It's just a matter of acknowledging that you're doing it and trusting the vibrational frequency of what it is that's coming in. So there's a lot of different aspects of this. What aspect are you curious about? Because I'm trying to look at it from more of a normal perspective, which can be hard for me at times.
Well, I think with a lot of people out there, they don't understand, and we get it on this show, that people, they want that proof that they have seen something. Mm-hmm. Okay, maybe not, the headline news story that says, hey, look at this UFO. They want to be out there for minutes. They don't want that potential satellite in the sky that people are saying, oh, that's a UFO. That's a UFO. they want that black triangle. They want that weird orb that is flying, past their house. They want their backyard to be lit up. They want that close encounters of the third kind where all of a sudden they look above them and their car is shaking because a UFO is flying over. Mm-hmm. That's what I get from a lot of people in this field that have not had an experience. They just want that one encounter that solidifies their idealism that this is real. Because until they have that, especially those who think more clinically, until they have that experience, this is all going to be a big yeah but in their life. Yeah, I believe it, but I've never experienced it, so I don't really know. And because there's so many shysters out there, I don't really know what I want to believe and what not to believe, and it sounds quite hokey to me. That's what we get a lot of.
Of course, and I completely understand that. But for most people, Dave, I do truly believe what these beings have told me, where a lot of people cannot actually handle waking up in the middle of the night, seeing a 6-foot-tall reptilian being or a 10-foot-tall mantis being or even a 4-foot-tall gray being like 4 or 5 feet away from them, staring at them. Most people will either wet the bed or have an anxiety attack or go to that flight or fight response. So for a lot of these beings, they like that are benevolent, they look at humanity and they're like, I don't want to go in a room with someone who's unpredictable. I don't feel safe with them. And so they'll be more inclined to have that astral contact with people. As we've talked about on a previous episode that you and I have done before about astral contact, which is the ability for your soul to leave your body at night. Everyone does it every night when they go to sleep anyway. But what I'm making reference to is having conscious capability to leave your body. And as you're leaving your body, determining where it is you're going to go. And so what you can do is there's actually a wonderful book out there called Astral Dynamics by Robert Bruce. It taught me how to have more conscious astral projections, and I found that it changed my contact for the better because I was able to better determine who it was I was interacting with. But what I want for you to do is to learn how to actually have control of your soul when it leaves your body at night. Most of these beings, being from different dimensions, they are more inclined to interact with you and to begin having physical contact with you if you are able to show them that your soul does not have the intention of going out of its way to cause harm to them. A lot of the benevolent ones that are out there who are wanting to assist humanity, who are wanting to interact with us, to give us healing, provide information, to develop more of a kinship with us as we go into leaving just our planet and actually starting to go out into the universe. They want to interact with you, but they want to do it in such a way that's safe for you and safe for them. And so what you have to do is this is contact with the soul. When your soul, like for instance, for me quite often, a lot of my contact is astral, probably good like 50%. It's a really high percentage. And what happens is I'll go to bed at night. I will relax my body, starting at my toes, work my way all the way up from the head, all the way up to the head, pardon me. And then you start to gain control of your breathing. And it's almost like you suddenly start to separate the soul from the body, and this is completely safe. Nothing's going to hop into your body. Nothing's going to gain control of your body. And then you start to float out of your room, out of that house, out wherever you wish to go. And if I were to think of a friend in Australia, then my soul will suddenly find itself in Australia near that friend. If I think about my soul family, I can find myself in their presence. Because the soul doesn't have to fly. The soul can teleport. And so a lot of people, like Dave, even look at yourself and an encounter that you've had recently. I'm not going to go into details because that's personal, but you'll find yourself suddenly at like a property and it's like, oh my goodness, it was dark when I went to bed and now it's suddenly daytime and I'm standing in front of this house and I'm with these beings. You teleported there because your soul thought, I want to be in this location, or these beings thought, okay, Dave's out of his body, we're going to take him here. And it can feel just as real as a physical encounter, but you're not having the sense of smell and the sense of taste. That's two of the things you need to look for when it comes to the differences between physical encounters and astral encounters. Is when I'm touching things, yes, I can feel if there's pain in the body, but quite often the sense of taste and smell are diminished, if not existent at all. And so, when you look at astral contact, it is the most common form of contact. And in fact, for people who don't understand how the contact experience is often occurring, if you don't remember actually walking out of your house, going in through a vortex, being taken out of a wall or through the ceiling, then quite often you're probably having astral encounters, assuming it's a physical encounter. And part of the way that a lot of these memories tend to come forward, Dave, is you can have dreams where you're seeing funny-looking people. You might start seeing UFOs in your dreams. You might start having this really weird aspect where, like, you know, I remember something about my aunt being there, but she wasn't acting like my aunt, and her face kept kind of changing. It was kind of blurry. See how there's that, the mind trying to rationalize and give it, like, little peaks of information coming forward about there being contact starting in the dream. Do you see what I mean?
Yes. Yes, I do.
Yeah, that's one thing that a lot of people don't realize. But a lot of these beings, when they're first meeting you and interacting with you, they're going to scan your mind. They're going to project onto you the image of someone familiar to you. It might not be your husband. It might not be your best friend. It might not be your mom. In fact, it's more likely to be someone that you're somewhat familiar with, like a teacher or a friend or an acquaintance, or even a family member that's a little more separated from you, someone that you're comfortable enough with to, if they're saying, hey, come with me, let's go this way, you'll follow them without really thinking about it and without asking too many questions. But separated enough from you that the vibrational frequency that they're emitting, this being who's masquerading as your friend, you won't necessarily be like, hey, but you don't feel like my friend. See how there's that separation? They'll often do that.
I do. I want to ask you something in regards to that, because with my last encounter that you happen to be in there, okay, my father was in there. A boy that I coached 20 years ago in hockey was in there. My best friend growing up from grade 7 through high school and everything was there. They had never been there before. You had never been there before. Why are people like this, if we use this as the example, seeing people that they recognize and interacting when there's nothing weird with them?
Well, you have to remember, Dave, if I am one of these beings and I'm with 3 or 4 other of these beings who are trying to get you to do a certain task, like let's say, for instance, this were in reference to something like, for instance, hybridization. I, being one of these beings, could project the image of a woman that you know and project that image into your mind if I need for you to, I guess, go through certain tasks. Whether it's related to your health, related to impregnation, related to whatever. And so in order to do that, sometimes they will use the images of people, you know, for instance, like your hockey friend, they'd be like, oh, okay, Dave's really comfortable with this person. He hasn't seen him in a long time, so he's probably not going to ask him a lot of questions right now. He's not going to ask him, like, for instance, if it was Mrs. SOR, they'd be like, you'd probably be like, where's the kids? What's going on? Because that's too close of a point of connection to you. Whereas if it's someone who you see frequently, you might start asking them questions of, okay, well, what's going on with work or what's going on with your spouse? There's often that aspect that comes through. Whereas when they tend to project the image of people that you know into your head, like, for instance, your father, that's a point of comfort, maybe a little bit of stress, but someone who you tend to listen to and that you will tend to, if they ask you to do something, that you will respond and do it without necessarily questioning. Do you see why they choose that point of authority in a sense? Someone you respect?
Wouldn't it be more comfortability?
That as well. It's a very, in one sense, logical and thought out process that they use. Sometimes they'll scan your mind and read wrong. Like, for instance, in my case, between my parents, I have, I think, 13, 14 aunts and uncles. And so sometimes they'll end up scanning my mind, picking the wrong aunt or uncle, and they'll be like, I don't like you, I'm not listening to you. And then they're like, oh my goodness, what's going on? Why is she not listening? So it's a bit of a hit and miss process for them. But often they'll try to choose someone that you're more inclined to respect or to feel a kinship to. So that's part of why they do that. Go ahead.
We've got about 4 minutes here before we got to go, or 5 minutes before we got to go to break at the top of the hour. Samantha Mowat is our guest tonight. Samantha, do you recommend people do this if they're not experienced with craft or with contact?
If you are someone who is mentally stable, you are emotionally stable, you are interested in having contact, but you're also willing to do some of the work involved, that'll bring contact forward, then yes, I recommend it. But if you're someone who scares easily, if you're someone who is prejudiced, if you're someone who is hate-filled or looking for a lot of control, then I don't recommend doing this, because if you're mentally unstable, this is going to push you over the edge. If you already have a tendency towards using drugs and alcohol in an abuse type manner, I don't recommend this because it's going to push you even further into your substance abuse. If you're someone who is prejudiced, then you're probably not going to like half the beings that you meet. So it's a bit of a finicky aspect. If you're really wanting to meet these beings, know who your soul family is, and you don't feel connected to Earth, then yes, go ahead, do this. It'll be fine. But ask your angels and guides for help. Ask them to put up the energy protection for you around yourself, around your home, around your soul to help keep so the lower vibrational beings or the negative beings are not interacting with you. Ask for assistance. You can ask the Ascended Masters to help as well. There's always the need to have that conscious intention and that manifestation to come forward. If you're someone who is a very pessimistic person, and you're trying to initiate contact, you might end up bringing to you some beings who are kind of nasty, because that is what your vibrational field is emitting. And what happens? Like attracts like. If you focus on, I'm so poor and I'm so ugly and I'm so miserable, then guess what you're going to get? More poor, more ugly, more miserable. If you focus on, I'm very love-based and all of life comes to me with ease and joy and glory, and today's going to be great, and I'm safe in the universe and all of life loves and supports me, well, guess what? You're going to get more of that. And so yes, you can still have negative contact occurring, but you're looking at the overall patterns of the vibrational field being emitted by you. So the conscious awareness of what your thought patterns are doing is going to impact your aura. And what your aura is doing is going to help determine who's having contact with you. Raise your vibration for higher contact. When I go through periods of really intense negative contact, often I'm having a lot of really intense negative things coming forward in my life related to some of the programming in place, related to some of the post-traumatic stress that I have with some of my other encounters, and me heavily fixating upon that. So you do have to be very careful in one sense what it is you're trying to bring to you. Also, if you're someone who's easily triggered, if you've had things like MK Ultra, some of the Super Soldier projects, stuff like that, I don't necessarily recommend going out of your way to have this come forward, because you probably already have enough stuff to deal with. You should probably just deal with what you have rather than adding more onto your plate.
We've got about 90 seconds here before we got to go to break, and a couple of people are asking in the chat rooms, you know, who are unfamiliar with yours and my story, if we could repeat that in hour number 2. Do you mind doing that?
No, not a problem. It's easy enough.
Yeah, we can do that. We've kind of done that before. Actually,
once or twice.
if you go to Samantha Mowat's YouTube channel, we did about a 48-minute video, you and me, this summer, sitting down and recording that entire experience. It was absolutely phenomenal. I do want to carry on when we get back from break, though, with the manifestation. Is it different, Samantha, as we got about a minute to go here, if you're trying to summon extraterrestrials comparatively to summon craft?
To an extent, yes, because when you're summoning craft, it's easier to summon a craft up into the sky to show up for a few moments than it is to summon a being to come down to your home. When you're looking at the difference here, is a craft can easily show up for a moment, be there for 2 or 3 minutes, and then disappear again. And it can see a large area around it and can tell if something's coming towards it much easier, and can blip out of the sky and change dimensions and change properties out of this dimensional plane much easier than a being who's coming down into your home, into your apartment building, into the neighborhood that you're in, where it now has to look at the entire vibrational frequency of all the beings around you, whether it's human, other extraterrestrials living amongst us, the dogs, cats, you name it. So it can be more complicated to manifest a being coming into the home than it is to manifest a craft up into the sky.
Why is that? Is it the safety of where you are? We've got about 10 seconds?
Yes, it has to do with the safety of where you are for these beings and safety for yourself. It can be more dangerous for yourself if these beings suddenly show up in your home, so you could now go on the radar.
Interesting. Very, very interesting indeed. Samantha, I'm going to get you to hold on because we are going to go to break here at the top of the hour. 1 hour down, 2 hours to go on Spaced Out Radio tonight. Samantha Mowat is our guest. We're going to continue talking about what it's like to manifest contact with extraterrestrials. We're going to go over our encounter back in 2014, the day I met this young lady. Yeah, she's a weirdo, just like me. She turned me into a weirdo. And we're going to have some fun with that coming up in hour 2 of Spaced Out Radio. Stay tuned.
Come hang out with Spaced Out Radio, where we own the night. This is Carl. You can follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, and during the show, use the hashtag Spaced Out Radio to chat with us live. On Instagram, at Dave Scott SOR. On Facebook, give our page a like, Spaced Out Radio Show. SOR archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. Come join us, or I will come join you. See you at your window.
The SOR Vault is open for business, and do we have some cool swag for you to pick up? All you have to do is head over to our website and click on the SOR Vault. You have a variety of cool logos to choose from, and put them on anything you want. T-shirts, hoodies, hats, coffee mugs, you name it, we can get it to you. So do your shopping by supporting the store you love. Get your Spaced Out Radio swag at the SOR Vault today.
For the price of 1 cup of coffee a month, you can become an SOR Space Traveler. The Space Travelers Club is a place where you can interact with other listeners, either live during the show or on our great forum. We want your stories, pictures, comments, and ideas. You'll get live video streams, exclusive content, and be a part of our newsletter. Stay in touch with everything SOR. The Space Travelers Club is just $5 a month at spacedoutradio.com.
A little bit of science, a little bit of skepticism. Add a dash of snark and you have the makings of Spaced Out Sundays with me, Everett Thiemer. Together we will look into the reality of the paranormal with an open eye and rational thought. Oh, did I mention there'll be plenty of woo as well? Your time spent with Spaced Out Sundays will make the night even better. The chat rooms are open, 9:06 p.m. Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, right here at spacedoutradio.com.
Move over, brother, and let me own Saturday night. This is Rich Giordano, and I'm inviting you to tune on in to Spaced Out Saturdays starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, 12 a.m. Eastern, where I'm going to bust open the lids on everything paranormal. Why? Because we want answers, and I'm the guy who's going to deliver those answers to you. Join the chat rooms, and we'll see you this Saturday. Just be there. No, really.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at MightyMooseBeard.com today.
At spacedoutradio.com, we have a little bit of everything for you to stay up late. So while you're there, check out our SOR Newswire, where our team brings you stories of the weird and strange to the WTF from around the globe. News on Bigfoot, UFOs, paranormal, Darwinian-type crime tales. It's the stories that the mainstream media usually won't touch. Well, we got them all on the SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com. The Call of the Wild is in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is one of the hottest bars and restaurants in the city. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose will rock you like a hurricane all night long. Great food with everything on the menu at $6.95 near the corner of Nelson and Granville. Get your horns up and come rock with us. The Moose Vancouver, the official rocking bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Hey, Spaced Out Radio fans! It's John Resig, founder of the CHIVE and CHIVE Charities. Our goal is to make the life of veterans, first responders, and those with rare medical conditions 10% happier. We do this by donating one grant item, ranging from dance to therapy programs to prosthetic limbs, to those who need it most. To contribute to Spaced Out Radio's official charity, head over to chivecharities.org and become a donor today.
Hi,
This is Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel where we store all of the SOR show archives for free. And as an added bonus, every 2 weeks I'm posting brand new content on Cryptid Tales, where I will get into some of the spookier legends and folklore from around the world and tell the stories that go with them. Find us at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio and check out Cryptid Tales today. Drop a comment and let me know what you want to hear. See you there.
Get your horns up with me on Spaced Out Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot Thal. Come tune in to SOR where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother Is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com and remember, Little Brother Is Watching.
Hey, this is Canadian Paranormal Investigator Mike Moore. The third Wednesday of every month, I'll be teaming up with Dave Scott to bring you Ghosts of the Great White North. Each month, we will bring on guests from across Canada to discuss their ghostly encounters. Canada is a paranormal hotbed with stories you've never heard, so we're going to bring them to you. So get comfy on your Chesterfield, grab a donut, and join us, eh?
Hi there, this is Geraldine Orozco from San Francisco's Bay Area Meditation. I invite you to join me the first Tuesday of every month with Dave Scott for Spaced Out Radio's The Spiritual You. In this fast-paced world we live in, it's time for you to take some time for you. We'll cover every possible subject from powerful meditation to healing techniques to your own intuition and spirituality. So come join us for The Spiritual You.
Are you having encounters with the paranormal, supernatural, or ufological that you cannot explain? Look no further than the SOR Sightlines Report, brought to you by the Experiencers Support Association. This is Ryan Stacy, head of the Research Association, TESA. Soon on the Spaced Out Radio website, you'll be able to file your reports and have them researched for you. We are independent and ready to help Spaced Out Radio listeners today.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio is underway tonight. Merry Christmas to you all. Happy holidays. If you're celebrating something on else, welcome to Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott. Thank you for joining us, especially if you're tuned in on WQEE 99.1 FM in Noonan, Georgia, KDUN AM 1030 in Reedsport, Oregon, KZFX 93.7 FM in Ridgecrest, California, KDNF AM 1560 in Dangerfield, Texas, and we say hello to Joe Montaldo and everybody at UPRN 107.7 FM in New Orleans. On the digital side, hi to everyone listening in on Kingdom of Nye Radio and Revolution Radio. Don't forget, you can check out all of our archives for free. All you got to do is go to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. And through all my messages, I got to find it here. And, well, let's see. No, that ain't it. That ain't it. Hold on one second here, because we just got to scroll down and get it here. Where are you? Where are you? Oh, my goodness. How did I blow this already? There it is. All right. Baboonery. Baboonery is your password. Use it wisely, space travelers, as the Clam sets a password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot. Do a little shopping at the SOR Vault, because you'd look good in one of our T-shirts. Grab a great book at We Read the Night. Join the Space Travelers Club for $5 a month. And, of course, Captain Shirk has you all updated on the SOR Newswire. Samantha Mowat is joining us tonight on Spaced Out Radio. She's an ET contactee, literally since infancy, and we're talking about manifestation tonight. What's it like to manifest extraterrestrials? Samantha, welcome back.
Hi, Dave. Thanks for having me again.
No problem. We'll give your website a shout-out, samanthamaowat.ca. If you want to check it on out, I highly suggest you do. Samantha, right before the break, we were talking about the difference between, summoning craft and summoning ET contact, where they like to come into your home or wherever. What about people who have missing time? It just comes out of nowhere. What's happening to them?
Well, in my opinion, missing time can be attributed to a number of things. You can't necessarily say that's ET related, because the Fae have also been known to do missing time for people. So, I mean, there's a lot of different beings that are able to pause time or to shift your mind out of the frequency that's normally holding, so we're normal cognitive awareness, and pause it or distort it and then put you back. So you can't just blame that on ETs or even just the different multidimensionals. I mean, you have to look at all the different beings that are capable of doing this, and you have to take into consideration, okay, well, where was I? What was the energy like when this happened? Did I feel safe after? Did I feel like I had been violated, or do I not remember anything? You have to really pay attention to the energetic vibration coming to you to determine exactly who it was and what happened. Energy does not lie, so you have to pay attention to your energy more than anything else. More than what you see, more than what you feel. It's always about, what is my energy telling me at this time about what happened to me? There have been some of my encounters, some that I initially thought were very positive. And I'm like, okay, well, if it's a positive thing, why am I crying? Why am I upset? Why? See how there's that emotional response despite the screen memory sometimes saying that, hey, something happened? So you really have to pay attention to that aspect. Now, missing time's a funny one, because I don't have oodles of it. I had a lot of it in 2014, but I don't have a lot of it now, and I didn't have tons of it as a kid. A lot of my contact, it was a bit different than what a lot of other people go through, because when you look at the way missing time works for most people, they'll, like, let's say, walk into their garage, and then all of a sudden they're coming back, like, 6 hours later. People are like, where the heck were you? Like, I was in the garage. I'm like, no, you weren't. We were just down there. You weren't there. For me, it doesn't happen that way. For a lot of the beings that I see, it seems like they tend to distort time, where I can be, for instance, like, I can go through an experience and it'll seem like I was only gone for like 5 minutes or 10 minutes, but I will look at it going, how could I have done this much in that short period of time? So it kind of can be bent two ways, depending upon the groups that are interacting with you and what it is that is occurring. So, kind of complicated.
Yeah, it is. So, with people who have lost time, have they manifested that? Or is that just that they've been chosen?
I don't even know if it's a matter of them manifesting it. I think it's just the beings that they work with don't necessarily have the ability to, I guess, pause time the same way other beings do. And so as a result, they're probably much more akin or closer in vibrational frequency and technological capability to us than some of the other beings that seem to be able to pause time, do what they will, and then put us back. So.
Okay, so when we have missing time, whether it's minutes, whether it's hours, why are we not able to recall what happened? What kind of block are they putting in our minds, and why?
That would be a psychic block. And so when you look at a lot of these beings, as we talked about earlier, a lot of them are more psychically developed than us. Sometimes it's actually done with positive intentions. So let's say, Dave, I'm one of these beings, and I'm monitoring you, and I've been abducting you since you were born. And I look at your body, I'm like, oh my goodness, look at Dave's aura. We're seeing that there's this disruption going on near his liver, and we're seeing that it's gone from being a deep red color to being brown, and it seems like it's moving its way over towards black, and we know that means that it's a human body developing cancer. So we're going to have to do a physical abduction here. And it looks like, judging by Dave's patterns and where Dave's going to be, that we are predicting over the next couple of months, we're able to see him on Tuesday the 3rd. And so Tuesday the 3rd rolls around, Dave, and you go out into the garage and you're tinkering away, and all of a sudden the hair on the back of your neck goes up and you feel like there's someone in the room with you. And then all of a sudden your vision starts going black from the outside and working its way in. And then the ETs abduct you, or the multidimensional beings abduct you. They take you back on the craft. They do whatever needs to be done to modify your body to help put it back to a healthy state, and then they return you. You could have been gone for minutes, hours, days, depending upon the beings and their technological capabilities, but it's not always done with the malicious intention that people are expecting. Quite often when I am taken, especially when it's a physical encounter, it's because something has to be modified to my body to help ensure that I'm able to be healthy, to help me when it comes to my hybridization contracts, to have something more akin to that level, rather than it being done for the sake of like let's say probing someone or assaulting someone. So it really does depend on the group, mind you, but normally they'll end up projecting into your mind. Like let's say, Dave, I'm the ET and you're the human. I will project into your mind right as you are being put home and I'm standing in front of you, the memory of, you're not going to remember this, and I'll do like 4 or 5 or 6 different layers of memory. So if you start to remember this, you remember, okay, I think I remember something about seeing someone, but I'm not sure. And then the layer below that will be, I remember something about seeing someone who was really short and who was bald. And then I remember something about seeing someone who was really short and really bald and kind of reminded me of a kid because they look kind of sickly. See how there's that growing layer of information about the person's appearance? What it's like, it's done in layers in such a way because a lot of the times if we were to remember about, okay, well, I went up onto craft, I had this healing done, and it was a gray that collected me, and it was a mantis that did the healing, and there was also a humanoid being that came in to come check on me. For a lot of people, yes, all of that occurring is too much. Instead, they will do layers of the memory going, I remember something about being in a doctor's office or something about someone with blonde hair healing me or whatever. So it's just a matter of keeping those layers of memories in place. That way the human's better able to handle what has been done to them. It's really not always mean.
There's a great comment on Twitter at #SpacedOutRadio from Aaron, who says, I was beamed by some radio signal or something during sleep years ago. Happened twice within a few weeks. The ceiling opened up and my eyes were opening and closing. It was beaming me like a broken radio signal. It was total bliss. I wish I knew what this was. What do you think it is, Samantha?
That's interesting because it depends on how it is, and depending upon, like, Aaron, did you have any health problems before? Did you feel better after this happened? Did you go through the awakening process after this event took place? There's a lot of factors that you'd have to talk to someone about to figure out exactly what was going on unless you're talking to their guides. The one thing that I've found is, like forever ago, when I went through something very, very similar, I had done really intense yoga one afternoon, and I went through a Kundalini activation where it moved the energy up throughout my body in such a way that it was going through periods of bliss over the course of like an hour. But that's not related to ET contact. Sometimes when you have really positive vibrations being sent to you, really high vibrational energies being sent to you by these beings, it can give you that feeling of bliss. But normally that's done for the awakening process rather than being done for anything else.
Okay. So what would be the signal of his ceiling opening up? Would that be a different dimension, a different realm? Would that be, the light that carries you up to the craft? What would that be?
If he's seeing himself, like if he's like laying on his bed, and then all of a sudden he sees the ceiling opening up and he starts to get the sensation of him moving up through the bed or through the ceiling out through the roof, then that's more likely to be a physical encounter than it is to be an astral, because when you're in an astral encounter, typically you'll just float right through. It's really no difference if you're going through a ceiling, a wall, anything. You can just do it quite easily without concern about hitting things. So I would say it's more likely physical based upon what he's saying to us.
That's what it sounds like to me as well. Sounds like that to me as well. So in the manifestation process, can you manifest what species you want, whether it's the Greys or the Mantids or Reptilians or Pleiadians or Anunnaki? Can you choose your group?
To an extent, yes, but you're going to have to gain better control over your mind. So in order for you to actually have a lot more conscious contact with these beings, be it astral, physical, or psychic, you are going to have to start having control over where it is your thought patterns are going. Most people cannot actually hold a solid thought for a minute, which we're like, oh my God, holding a thought for a minute so easy. No, it's not. Try it. Just try it. Tomorrow, when you have free time, take a minute by yourself and only think about one thing. And you're going to clear out every other thought, not how my body feels, not what my kids are doing, not what I've eaten, not I have to go pee, just focusing only on the aspect of who it is you're trying to contact. So you have to, in order to do that, you have to think of your energy connecting with their energy. You have to create almost like a bridge going from yours to theirs. It does help to ask the positive beings that you work with to come forward to assist you with this. But most people can't actually hold on to their thought pattern long enough to send a decent signal. And it's like having a bad Wi-Fi connection for your router. You're not going to have good internet signal if the signal can't maintain frequency. Same thing said with your mind. And these beings have explained to me that for most people to gain better control of their mind, they do have to do things like meditate. They do have to become more focused and conscious of where their thought patterns are going. So if you do want to have contact with any of these beings, it really does help to have that ability to focus on your energetic field and theirs. And so if I want to contact the Greys and I want to do, let's say, automatic writing with them, and let's say I want to contact Phoebe, who's one of my favorite beings, then what I would end up doing is I would go into my reading room, I would put myself in a light meditative state beforehand, I would clear all the energy that's not mine, clear the room, so it's just my vibration within that space, and then I would think of a specific being, or in your case, a specific race. And it helps if you know, it's like sending a broadcast out to all of humanity. If I'm an ET being sending a broadcast out to all of humanity, I might not have a nice human show up that's communicating with me. And so it does help to have the conscious focus of, angels and guides, could you please help me to contact one who is benevolent, one who would be interested in working with me? Can you assist me in this process? And so by doing that and keeping myself in that deeper meditative state, as we talked about earlier, with my conscious intention focusing on communicating with them as I'm raising my vibration, which is what meditation does. It clears the other frequencies away. It raises your frequency that you are better akin to receive and send psychic information. By doing that, you can help to establish communication with the Pleiadians, with the reptilians, with the Orions, with the Mantis. That is what most of these contactees are doing, whether it's Barbara Marciniak when she's talking to Pleiadians, or Krista Riza when she's talking to the Orion Council. You do have to take into account what these different people are doing, because they're all putting themselves into a deeper psychic state. That is what we're all doing, even myself and other people who are psychically inclined. When we are talking to these guides to find out information about the humans who are coming to us for readings, we put ourselves in deep psychic states to connect to them. For instance, right now, I'm not going to be a good channel because what am I doing? I drank black tea today because I've had chocolate, because I'm not in a meditative state. Whereas if I'm going to be doing this work where I'm connecting into these beings, I keep myself a clean and pure vessel as they have taught me to do. I change my vibrational frequency in such a way to being higher vibrational, which means cutting out other people's energy, which means raising my frequency. Do you see how these steps are all very important to get yourself to that step where you can connect to them?
I do, but I don't know if many people out there understand what they have to eliminate, what they have to do. How do they get that clean projection of contact?
So for myself, when I'm wanting to have contact on more of a psychic level, or even like if I'm wanting to deliberately talk to the beings I work with, because I have major life changes coming up in the next year, like they've been warning me about, if I know I need to get information from them, I will make sure that from the time I wake up until I'm done communicating with them, I have no caffeine, no sugar, no animal products. I will eat mostly raw vegan, which is the highest vibrational food that is available to humanity at this time, which for a lot of people, they're like, ew, gross, I don't want to have salad. I'm like, well, it's not just salad. There's tons of foods you can have. You just have to learn to shift what you're eating, because the higher vibrational things you're putting into your body, the higher state of vibration you are able to hold. So what I end up doing from that point is I go into my reading room. I go into a deep meditation. Throw on some binaural beats. Allow for yourself to have your feet flat on the floor, your hands flat on your lap. Feel your auric system. Feel from the tops of your toes all the way up to the top of your head. Feel where in your body you're holding tension. And everywhere you find that you're holding tension, breathe light into it. That beautiful gold frequency. Allow for that healing energy to repair the DNA where it is being damaged and where it has points of tension. And by doing that, you're raising the frequency of the body. Once you've raised the entire body's frequency, start to allow for your energy protection to go around you. Ask the beings you work with to put up energy protection if you don't know how to do it. I like white light and golden bubbles. Sometimes I work with a violet flame. Sometimes I envision a cloak going around me. It doesn't matter. But once you have that energy protection around you, so you're not having lower astral entities or the dead messing with you, or some of these beings that aren't as kind coming forward to talk to you, Because there are a lot of beings out there who they're like, oh, Dave wants to talk to ETs. Well, I'm going to pretend to be an ET, and I'm going to pretend my name's George, and I'm going to pretend I'm from Orion, and I'm just going to mess with his head, giving him bullshit. Sorry for swearing. But that's what some of these beings will do, and that's why you have to raise your frequency out of a range so that these lower vibrational beings cannot give you this information to mislead you. That is why it's so important to raise your vibration. And so simply by doing that, and you project your consciousness out of, I would like to meet positive grays, I'd like to meet positive grays, I would like to meet positive grays, I'd like to meet positive grays, just having that repetition going over and over in your mind. You can do that every day for a month, even just for 5 minutes. And guess who's going to start picking up on your signal? The beings that you're broadcasting to. And the same thing can be said with the Pleiadians. The same thing can be said with all these different. They might not come talk to you while you're meditating. You might find that you start having these really weird dreams where you start having these funny-looking people coming to talk to you, or this person that seems really intent on communicating with you. Often they'll present themselves as humans to you. And that's where it's important to start a dream journal, keeping track of who it is that's talking to you, what it is you're experiencing, and what is going on. For a lot of these beings, they're going to want to talk to you on the astral to get you comfortable with them, and then they will switch to the psychic and the physical contact. It's a bit of a challenging dynamic that way. It is a lot of work, but it is well worth it. I'm at the point with these beings where I appreciate the contact I have. They often give me warnings about when family members are going to be passing, about when I'm going to be getting pregnant, about when I'm making big life changes or big life moves, whether it's the house I bought or with certain family members getting very sick and passing, because I've done the work, because I've listened to the intuitive nudges that they've given me saying, Sam, you got to cut out coffee. Sam, we don't like you having any alcohol. We don't want you doing this. And they've explained it's not because they're being bossy. It's because they're saying, we need you to be a clean and clear vessel. And that'll happen to you too. You just have to listen and respect it.
Wish they'd tell me to quit Pepsi.
Well, I'm not supposed to drink pop, so...
I'm weak. That's all I'm going to say.
I get it. Like, I've got a Starbucks addiction. I totally get it. Bless you.
Oh, thank you. I was on mute. You heard it. I sneezed.
Oops.
We've got about a minute 45 left before we go to break. At the bottom of the hour, Samantha Mowat is our guest tonight. PBR is asking in the chat room if you've ever used anything like ayahuasca in order to enhance or to gain contact.
No, I've never had to use things like ayahuasca. I've had the good fortune of being able to meet these beings from a very young age. I know a lot of people who have done ayahuasca, and do you know what? It's interesting that you mentioned that, sir, because when I was looking earlier up, I noticed what the guides want to talk about. I don't actually recommend people using a lot of the vibrational altering substances like ayahuasca or shrooms unless they're sure they're in a mentally good state, like they've had a psychological evaluation done, like they have no tendency towards drug and alcohol abuse. And if they're going to do this, please make sure you go to an accredited shaman who's going to protect you and keep you safe, not only from the lower dimensional entities and those that could hook onto your aura, but who can help you if you're needing medical attention. So if you do choose to do those things, that's fine. For me, it's not something I have to do.
Do you find yourself lucky for that?
Yes and no. I look at some of these experiences and I think, wow, that sounds amazing to go on a shamanic journey and to get to have all this wonderful information given to you by these sacred medicines. And that does sound really incredible. But because I'm in the hybridization program, I do have to keep my vibration within a certain frequency range. And so a lot of the altering substances I'm not allowed to have in my body because it would disrupt the children that I make.
Interesting.
Because, well, when you look at hybrids, Dave, my body has to be able to hold the frequency of the hybrids that are coming into me. If my frequency is not at a compatible state, then their frequency, which is somewhere between ET and human, which is within a healthy range of both, I have to meet it somewhere in the middle.
Right.
And if I'm
on
not...
that note, I'm going to cut you off right there because we got to go to break here. Samantha Mowat, her website, samanthmowat.ca. We're going to continue with ET Talk tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Hour 2 continues right after this.
Every night on Spaced Out Radio, we have places for you to hang out. Hi, this is Carl. Join our SOR Space Travelers group on Facebook for live chat. On Twitter, using hashtag Spaced Out Radio, you can also join us in our Spreaker chat room. Check us out on Instagram at Dave Scott SOR. All of our archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. By the way, I'll be watching you at your window until you do. Bye!
You wanted new SOR gear, and now you can have it. The SOR Vault is fully stocked with t-shirts, hats, hoodies, mugs, and everything in between with great logos for you to choose from. So head on over to spacedoutradio.com, click on the SOR Vault, and go shopping. Pricing is quite affordable, and you can look good representing your favorite show. So go to our website and pick up your new SOR wear at the SOR Vault today.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot THAL, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Move over, brother, and let me own Saturday night. This is Rich Giordano, and I'm inviting you to tune on in to Spaced Out Saturdays starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, 12 a.m. Eastern, where I'm going to bust open the lids on everything paranormal. Why? Because we want answers, and I'm the guy who's going to deliver those answers to you. Join the chat rooms, and we'll see you this Saturday. Just be there. No, really.
Finish off your weekend and kick off your new week with me, Everett Thiemer, right here on Spaced Out Sundays. I'm going to bring you great guests, a little bit of snark, and plenty of information to think about. But don't worry, there's going to be plenty of woo as well. We are going to hit everything in the paranormal and supernatural, including the odd psychic Sundays. So tune us in on Sunday, 9:06 p.m. Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, right here at spacedoutradio.com.
Hey everybody, the SOR Space Travelers is open. For just $5 a month, you can hang out with Dave and our crew privately in our members-only section. With your signing, you'll receive newsletters on what's going on with Spaced Out Radio. You'll have direct contact with the host during the show in our chat, live streaming videos, and a great forum for your posts and more. Become a space traveler now at spacedoutradio.com.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio. Looking for something new to push your limits? Look Beyond the Spectrum, a new docuseries featuring some of the best researchers in the world when it comes to everything from UFOs, government cover-ups, and Bigfoot in the forest. Truth seekers like Steve Bassett, Dr. Jeff Meldrum, Richard Dolan, as well as others all chip in to bring their knowledge to you. Beyond the Spectrum can be found on Amazon as well as Tubi TV. Tell us what you think on our Amazon page.
From the heartlands of Canada to beards around the world, we know how to take care of you. Fill your follicles with the Mighty Moose Beard Oil. All our oils and balms are handmade and 100% natural ingredients because we care about your beard. And hey, use the promo code SOR2019 and get your Mighty Moose Beard Oil today. You can check us out on our website, mightymoosebeard.com.
Hey, space travelers, this is John Resig, founder of the CHIVE and CHIVE Charities. If you know anything about our website, you know we like to do things a little differently. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. Our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor with Spaced Out Radio's official charity, CHIVE Charities, just go to chivecharities.org/donate.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
We're adding to the entertainment online for Spaced Out Radio. I'm Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out Cryptid Tales, where I will take you on a journey into some of the strangest legends and lore from around the world, relaying the stories to you of the strange creatures and experiences that people have had throughout time. You can find Cryptid Tales at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. And while you're there, don't forget to check out our free archives and leave a comment. See you there.
We've passed the halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. Great to have each and every one of you with us. Reminder to all of you that if you've missed portions of this show or others, we got a great YouTube channel for free where we store our archives. Just youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. It's that simple. And of course, our website, spacedoutradio.com, where Captain Shirk has all the news ready for your reading. You can also check out the SOR Newswire. Just like that. Captain Shirk has it all up to date. I'm trying to get her name out there because I told her I was going to bug her about it, and I know she's listening. And she's like, no, don't promote me. Don't promote me. Stop saying my name on the radio. And Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire is ready for your reading. Lots more on our website, so check it on out. Like Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Tonight we're talking with Samantha Mowat on Spaced Out Radio. Her website, samanthamowat.ca. We're talking about ET contact, what it's like to have extraterrestrials around. You got aliens? We want to hear about it. Samantha, welcome back.
Hi, Dave.
By the way, you look good in one of our T-shirts that says you've got aliens.
I would. That'd be really cool. I definitely like that.
You go to our website, spacedoutradio.com, check out the SOR Vault right before checking out Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Mm-hmm. Oh, now I'm having fun with this.
I see that.
Oh, Merry Christmas, everybody. Merry Christmas. And don't forget to check out Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire.
And it makes a good Christmas present.
Exactly.
Don't forget.
Exactly. Yeah, I know she's just... I'm going to get a message here anytime. Anytime. She's going to be, you're just so bad. You're just so bad upsetting the Captain Shirk like that. Oh,
That's terrible. Funny.
Oh, I love her. I love her, though. She works her tail off for us. It's phenomenal. We just love her around here. All right, Samantha, let's get to it. Let's get to some ETs, aliens. You know, right before the break, we were talking about whether or not you can manifest what species of ET that you like or that you would want to contact with. How dangerous is that, though, considering that there are so many, or allegedly, so many different species of greys, so many different species of reptilians? Some want to have you for dinner. Others want you to sit down and join them for dinner. And they're just polite. We'll maybe put a Band-Aid on if you scrape your knee or something along those lines. But it really is dangerous of what you could potentially be manifesting because, like people, there's 8 billion people in the world. I'm sure there's more aliens than that out there in the stars, but not everybody's good. Not every alien is good.
Well, you're completely right about that. And that's where it's a matter of being very cautious about what it is your vibration's emitting. And as we were discussing earlier about the importance of having a very strong ability to control your thought pattern, not only who it's broadcasting to, but when most people are doing telepathy, it's kind of like, think of it this way. Imagine you and I are in a gym full of tons of people and everyone's screaming at the top of their lungs exactly what's going through their mind in that moment. Most people aren't smart enough to direct their telepathic information from one mind to the next person's mind. Instead, they just broadcast out for everyone. And that's where the danger can come in for a lot of people when they're attempting to make contact with the different beings. If I am projecting out into the universe of, I want contact, I want contact, I want contact, well, guess what? Someone's going to pick it up sooner or later. And you really might not appreciate the beings that are coming to see you. And that's why I recommended doing things like raising your vibration, asking the angels and guides to help, really having that strong connection of, I want to speak to this specific being, or I want to speak to this specific race of benevolent beings. You have to be very cautious. For most people, I actually recommend, rather than saying, ooh, I want to meet the Pleiadians, or ooh, I want to meet the Reptilians, or ooh, I want to meet Lyrans, and maybe just ask for your soul family to come forward. I know that may sound a little bit weird, but wouldn't it be better to trust that the beings that you have incarnated with previously, the beings that you work with, even now on a soul level, wouldn't it be smarter to start with them? Start with the beings that a lot of us have extraterrestrials that we're connected to due to our previous incarnations, quite often as being these ET beings. And so these beings will have this kinship with us. And you're better off asking for those beings to step forward. And you might be surprised, like some of the people that I've read in the past, it's surprising when you have people coming forward and you're like, oh my goodness, there's bird beings and dolphin beings and human beings and a lot of different types of reptilians. It can be really surprising the type of beings that you have presenting themselves to you. And, you know, if you're asking for the soul family, you already have that tie and that kinship, and they're already safe for you. It is a much easier and better choice for people to make than simply saying, I really want to meet this other species, because you don't know what that species' intention is to you. For instance, Dave, you, someone who does have an interest in the Anunnaki-type beings, it might not be as much of a good thing for you to say, I want to meet ETs, I want to meet ETs, because you might have negative reptilians come forward, you might have negative humanoids come forward, who would then be misleading towards you. And you, someone who may not necessarily, just as an example, not know to gauge your energetic response with every meeting, going, oh my goodness, does this feel heavy to me, therefore it's not right, or being dishonest, or oh my goodness, does this feel light to me, so it resonates. You might not have that strong gauge of how to discern what is being presented to you by these different beings. And so that is where the danger comes in. It's not that you're saying, I want to meet these beings, and then all of a sudden you're having a negative being come in and it's abducting you and raping you or trying to eat you. Instead, a lot of them will simply be tricksters towards you and present you with inaccurate information, mislead you, and unfortunately harvest a lot of your energy. It's a very common one as well.
Well, I mean, as long as they buy me dinner first, I'm okay with them doing some things. You know, talk dirty to me a little bit. That's just the way I look at it.
Well, think of it this way. Okay, but Dave, remember how I've talked to you on this show previously, and quite emotionally, I might add, how when we went to Hawaii, I was raped by that one reptilian?
Absolutely.
Because I wasn't smart enough to put up the energy protection around myself in a new location. Made the mistake of having a glass of wine with my husband at dinner. Made the mistake of not doing the psychic protection. So because of stuff like that, it is a very traumatic thing on the body if you have stuff like that happening, talking dirty to you or not. And so
I know. I was just playing the tease card there.
I know. You are such a tease. It's funny. But I want to make sure people are doing this in a safe manner. And that's why I bring up the connection to the soul family aspect rather than saying, yes, I really want to meet the Pleiadians. It's like, well, you know, not all the Pleiadians out there are nice. And you might assume that what you're meeting is a Pleiadian when it could be something from Aldebaran or Venetian, or you're just, a lot of people are like, oh, it's a humanoid, therefore it's Pleiadian. It's like, no. They're a very small little section. They're just one tiny part of our galactic cousins. And we don't always have nice family, no matter how estranged from us they are. But that's okay.
So with that, if you take that into account, and I believe your word, I really do, all right? But if you take that into account, that there are other humanoid creatures, I mean, that are really out to demean and take advantage of you, who you are, your sensitivities, your absolute everything that kind of rules one's life, or one's life, pardon me. Okay, how do you go about knowing, because there would be a trust factor there in seeing another human being? See, that's one thing, like with myself, with the experiences I have had personally, I'm very surprised I've never seen a humanoid that I know of. I've never seen one, never talked to one, never had one approach me, never been taken by one. Well, I feel a little ripped off and gypped because I think, with my hair and it's hard being this beautiful sometimes, and I just feel that, and I joke about it, but with an all serious aspect, that there has to be some sort of emotion, and if you connect with somebody who is a humanoid being. I would like to see a humanoid being. I really would.
Well, and I completely understand that, but you have to look at the way a lot of the humanoid beings are that we interact with. I mean, Dave, you could have a humanoid ET being come up to you, and the differences between their appearance and yours might be so minuscule in compared to the fact that, like, you would expect them to have, hybrid eyes or insanely glossy hair or whatever. Some of them do have skin that is very similar to us. Some of them do have skin that is absolutely perfection, where it doesn't have the sun damage we have, doesn't have the wrinkles, doesn't have the issues that we have. But some of these other ones do come from planets that are more akin to our own, because they're not as technologically advanced or as even spiritually and psychically as advanced. So you might not necessarily realize if you are talking to one of these beings if they came up to talk to you. So I think people forget that part too, especially when you go to a lot of UFO conferences. You'll encounter people who are like, you energetically feel really strange to me, like so very different to most of humanity. And you might not put your finger on it right away until after they've already left, going, oh my goodness, I wonder if that person was not from here. We've all met other humans where we looked at them and went, you are not a normal human at all. And it's a matter of discerning exactly to what capacity that other human is not necessarily a normal human. Are they a walk-in? Are they an ET? Are they a starseed? Are they an earth angel? I mean, even Mrs. SOR, you meet her and you could tell her vibration's not that of the standard human. Very obviously earth angel. So there's that energetic recognition awareness that comes into place. And if you want to have them, have a craft that lands in your backyard or the field behind, let's say in your neighborhood, and you want for them to walk over to come see you, I mean, you have to look at the logistics that goes into a lot of these planned encounters. When they're doing stuff like this, it's normally because everything is lined up in such a way, and it takes a lot of planning on many different levels for them to come see us on a physical capacity. Most people think, okay, well, they're just going to show up and be here for 3 seconds and they'll go. Okay, that's great. Yes, they can do that. But by doing that, a lot of them are putting you in danger, because then you'll have an energetic surge within the area of your neighborhood, which is then going to be noticed by a lot of these other beings that are, some of them of which are ruling this planet, some of which are related to our governments, who look at, okay, well, who in this neighborhood is having this contact? Because we know there was a craft that landed here at 2:40 in the morning. Okay, great. Now let's look at everyone's home security systems in that neighborhood. Let's see who's walking about. Let's see what direction this is coming from. And then you can start having surveillance happening. You can start having harassment happening to the people that are going through this contact, and in some cases becoming MyLabs. So, I mean, there's a lot of aspects that people don't take into consideration when they're asking for physical contact. It is much easier to have physical contact when you grew up the way I did, where you're on a 50-acre farm, 7 miles up a logging road in the middle of nowhere, than it would ever be to have physical contact downtown Vancouver. So you have to take that into consideration. That's why I tell you, Dave, you want to have physical contact? Great, go camping. Let's go camping. Let's go up in the middle of nowhere.
I know. I'm trying to spend more time in the bush when I actually have time.
I get that.
What's time like?
Complicated.
I'm imagining this right now. I'm imagining this, hearing the organs play in the background. Oh, Dave has time.
Very heavenly. I like it.
I know.
But I mean, even for myself, Dave, like when I go out in the woods with my dogs and we're going for long hikes and I'm making YouTube videos or doing whatever, quite often we will see beings that'll peek up from behind trees and be there for a minute and then be gone. I mean, that's very common with a lot of these beings. It's just, it is harder for them to do it in a populated area than it ever is for them to do it somewhere a bit more isolated.
Bigfoot the same way?
I would perceive so. I've only met a Bigfoot being once, though.
Oh, I gotta see another one. I have to. I'm trying to manifest this. I'm trying. Every time I go in the forest, I feel I'm getting closer. And it's weird because a lot of times, since the forest fires, especially up here, or down here from you, okay, since the forest fires, I go into the bush now, and it's kind of like, okay, I'm anticipating something to happen, anticipating something right around that corner. And then you get there, and that feeling is gone. Just poof, gone.
That's interesting because
that.
There is some sort of energetic shift that did happen in this area with all the forest fires that we've had up here in the last 4 years. It is a different energy than it used to be.
That's why I want me some aliens. I want Carl to come back.
But I mean, that's the thing, Dave. If you're going to connect with Carl, when you do have a chance on your days off, if you ever get them, spend that half hour where you throw in some binaural beats and just keep saying, Carl, I want to see you. Carl, I want to talk to you. Carl, Carl, Carl. And just keep poking him like an annoying 3-year-old because you'll get his attention.
Yeah, Carl is way out there right now. That I do know.
And
way
that's fine.
Out there.
But time and space don't exist. It doesn't.
True.
It's not the way we see it. So it doesn't matter if Carl is 1 billion miles away from you, or if he's in the next room, or if he's standing right behind you. If you project your consciousness to his, it will go to him. You just have to focus.
I know. And
I'm working on that too. I'm not great at it. I get in trouble from the beings I work with if I'm on craft and I'm broadcasting to everybody rather than being polite and going my mind to their mind. I get it. We all mess that up, but that's something we all have to work on. And so that's why most people are getting that urge to declutter their homes right now, declutter their minds, de-stress, to get away from the old habits that we had. They're trying to get us to be more focused. And quite often being more focused means having less external stimulus preventing us from focusing.
Very true. Very true. We've got about 6.5 minutes left with you here in hour 2 before we get to hour number 3, and we got you for another 30 minutes tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Samantha Mowat is our guest. Her website, samanthamowat.ca. How come so many people out there, Samantha, can go years with one sighting or one encounter, and it never seems to happen again? And they feel a little let down, ripped off. I mean, look at all the encounters I've had, okay? And I really haven't had a good one in years. Manifesting it, wanting it to happen. Carl still owes me a flight, waiting for the ship to land in the backyard because we had to cut down some trees in the backyard this year because they were falling over. Okay, got lots of room for a craft. Time to go for a flight. Manifesting it.
And I totally get that, Dave, but a lot of people do not have the soul contracts in place, which, like, that would dictate them going through regular contact, and especially not significant regular contact. For people like myself, like Misha Johnston, people who, even like Simon Parks, who have a lot of contact, is because we have soul contracts in place with a lot of these beings, not only to spread information, but to go through hybridization, to have ourselves being intermediaries between the two species, or the two groups, I should say, because it's multiple species in place. And that's where it gets more complicated. I don't necessarily recommend people go out of their way and saying, oh, I want to make a bunch of soul contracts so I can get more contact, because, you know, that's a bit of a double-edged sword. It's not necessarily something you want to have happen, but that is part of the reason why people like yourself have a lot less contact than people like myself. Even when I take into consideration myself versus my sister, I have a tremendous amount of contact, whereas hers is much more akin to yours, where she has the regular checkups, but she doesn't need to go through the same magnitude of what I go through. And that's because our soul contracts within the different species are so very different. And it can make things more complicated when you do have a lot of contact. Most people don't realize the amount of PTSD that goes into it, because it can be very hard when you go up onto craft, even very kind, loving craft, where you're having light beings or higher vibrational beings like crystal beings interacting with you, teaching you, having your soul with their frequency, and then coming back here. This feels like a prism. And yet, when we look at the way a lot of this interaction goes, it can be very difficult to constantly be acclimatizing between what is my vibration at, what is it I'm interacting with, and trying to be normal. I mean, Dave, could you really handle contact to the degree I have it? I don't know if you could.
Oh,
I don't mean
no,
that.
I could.
I'm not being condescending. It's just I've had the luxury of being accustomed to this over years. I could be that really weird little kid and be like, okay, well, I'm seeing UFOs. I don't know if you could handle having this and then doing your taxes and parenting and being married and everything else, because you're not, I guess, having the same exposure to it over a long course period of time. So
yeah,
that's where it's difficult.
You know, I used to, and many others are like this as well, because I've had this conversation with others outside of you, obviously.
Yeah.
You know, when ETs are around, you kind of feel them.
Mm-hmm.
You know when they're around. It's just a higher vibration, a higher frequency, whatever you want to call it. The body is just on a rush. I always tell people when they ask what the difference is, you know, being around ghosts and spirits, it's very heavy on the shoulders. You kind of feel, you know, blasé,
like a thickness.
Thickness, yeah. Like your shoulders are being pushed down, whereas ET contact, it's very, very high. Like, gotta go. You know, like you just ate like 18 chocolate bars in a row with, you know, 5 2-liter bottles of Pepsi, or half-gallon bottles of Pepsi, for those in America. You know, I mean, that's what it's like. You're buzzing. You're like ready to go.
Like the air's alive. Yeah.
Exactly. And, you know, for a lot of people, they want that. They want that feeling. You know, are you able through meditation having the ability to bring that out?
Yes, they can. Absolutely. Anyone can. A lot of these beings, the higher vibrational ones, are eager to interact with anyone in humanity, anyone who is willing to try to project their consciousness to a higher state of being. They keep emphasizing over and over the last 10 years that we are on an evolutionary path where our consciousness is expanding. We're all raising in vibration as a collective. And the most important thing we can do is to gain control over our thoughts and our energy field. A lot of them are very excited to interact with us. They're just as eager to interact with us as we are to interact with them, but they don't want to be counterproductive by doing this. If they look at someone, they're like, wow, look at that person. They're such a cute little human. We want to talk to them. But we're worried that if we go talk to them right now, that this person's going to stay in the negative habits that they have, which is abusing alcohol, or they might start using drugs because they don't have the good emotional support system in place and because they haven't dealt with the trauma that they're going through in their life, and because they have a lot of stress. You know, I don't think we're going to go see that person physically. Let's try to see them on the astral. Let's try to give them signs and synchronicity that keep pointing them towards the positive ET contact stuff. And so they're going to do a lot of things to help try to shape your life, to keep guiding you on a pathway that's more positively focused, whether it's getting you to join ET support groups, whether it's getting you to find a bunch of books or a bunch of YouTube channels. They will keep your mind having this synchronicity, this focus of the ET aspect. But a lot of people, unless they're willing to actually start changing their lifestyle and changing their belief system, are not going to be able to have contact, Dave. If you were going about your day-to-day life and you were not dealing with the trauma that you've gone through in your past, and you maintain that stagnant vibration, and you're not making the dietary changes, and you're not making the lifestyle changes, if you're not having positive contact with a lot of these beings now, what makes you think you're going to have positive contact? You're not going to. It's ridiculous to think that you can do the same thing over and over and expect a different result. That is insanity. You have
on
to
that note,
change.
I'm going to get you to hold on right there, Samantha, because we're going to step out for a quick break here on Spaced Out Radio. We got Samantha Mowat another 30 minutes. Then the SOR Newswire and the Thought of the Day, a packed house on Hour 3 of Spaced Out Radio next. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. We'll be right back.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
The SOR Vault is open for business, and do we have some cool swag for you to pick up? All you have to do is head over to our website and click on the SOR Vault. You have a variety of cool logos to choose from, and put them on anything you want. T-shirts, hoodies, hats, coffee mugs, you name it, we can get it to you. So do your shopping by supporting the store you love. Get your Spaced Out Radio swag at the SOR Vault today.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Every night on Spaced Out Radio, we have places for you to hang out. Hi, this is Carl. Join our SOR Space Travelers group on Facebook for live chat. On Twitter, using hashtag Spaced Out Radio. You can also join us in our Spreaker chat room. Check us out on Instagram at Dave Scott SOR. All of our archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. By the way, I'll be watching you at your window until you do. Bye!
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at MightyMooseBeard.com today.
For the price of 1 cup of coffee a month, you can become an SOR Space Traveler. The Space Travelers Club is a place where you can interact with other listeners, either live during the show or on our great forum. We want your stories, pictures, comments, and ideas. You'll get live video streams, exclusive content, and be a part of our newsletter. Stay in touch with everything SOR. The Space Travelers Club is just $5 a month at spacedoutradio.com.
A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, and what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch. Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized Escape watch. Head to escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
Hey, space travelers, this is John Resig, founder of the CHIVE and CHIVE Charities. If you know anything about our website, you know we like to do things a little differently. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. Our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor with Spaced Out Radio's official charity, CHIVE Charities, just go to chivecharities.org/donate.
A little bit of science, a little bit of skepticism. Add a dash of snark and you have the makings of Spaced Out Sundays with me, Everett Thiemer. Together we will look into the reality of the paranormal with an open eye and rational thought. Oh, did I mention there'll be plenty of woo as well? Your time spent with Spaced Out Sundays will make the night even better. The chat rooms are open, 9:06 p.m. Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, right here at spacedoutradio.com.
At spacedoutradio.com, we have a little bit of everything for you to stay up late. So while you're there, check out our SOR Newswire, where our team brings you stories of the weird and strange to the WTF from around the globe. News on Bigfoot, UFOs, paranormal, Darwinian-type crime tales. It's the stories that the mainstream media usually won't touch. Well, we got them all on the SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Move over, brother, and let me own Saturday night. This is Rich Giordano, and I'm inviting you to tune on in to Spaced Out Saturdays starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, 12 a.m. Eastern, where I'm going to bust open the lids on everything paranormal. Why? Because we want answers, and I'm the guy who's going to deliver those answers to you. Join the chat rooms, and we'll see you this Saturday. Just be there. No, really.
We're adding to the entertainment online for Spaced Out Radio. I'm Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out Cryptid Tales, where I will take you on a journey into some of the strangest legends and lore from around the world, relaying the stories to you of the strange creatures and experiences that people have had throughout time. You can find Cryptid Tales at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio, and while you're there, don't forget to check out our free archives and leave a comment. See you there.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Merry Christmas from everybody at Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott, as we enter hour 3 of tonight's show. We want to welcome back everyone listening in on KZFX 93.7 FM in Ridgecrest, California. KDNF AM 1560 in Dangerfield, Texas. KDUN AM 1030 in Reedsport, Oregon. WQEE 99.1 FM in Noonan, Georgia. And UPRN 107.7 FM in New Orleans. On the digital side, thanks to everybody listening in on Kingdom of Nye Radio and Revolution Radio. Thank you so much. Don't forget, you can check out all of our archives for free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the Christmas password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Baboonery. Baboonery is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets a password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We got a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, do a little shopping at the SOR Vault. You could grab yourself a great book at We Read the Night. Join the Space Travelers for $5 a month, and Captain Shirk is all over the news daily on the SOR Newswire. For the final time tonight, we introduce Samantha Mowat. She's a good friend of mine, good friend of this show's, lifelong ET contactee. That's what we've been talking about all night long. Her website, SamanthaMowat.ca, if you want to check her on out. Samantha, welcome back.
Hi, Dave. Thank you once again.
Do extraterrestrials take the time off during holidays like Christmas?
I don't think they have the same holidays we do. Not from what they've shown me, at least.
You ever been taken on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day?
When I was younger, Christmas Eve once, the last Christmas that I believed in the jolly old gentleman who gives gifts this time of year, who I'm not willing to say I have a strong possibility that there could be people awake in my house who still believe in such.
Yes, that's why I'm glad I have a soundproof room.
I'm super jealous. I'd like to manifest one of those.
Yes. Just don't use the contractor I did. He won't finish the job.
Fair
That's
enough.
okay. We're 99% done. That final 1% never got done, though. But anyhow, moving on, because I got a beautiful studio here. You've seen it. It's gorgeous.
I do. It is.
It is gorgeous. But moving on, with that, and are there times when extraterrestrials will leave us alone? Let's say if we're going through a traumatic time, say a family member just passed, or you lost your job, or something along those lines. Are they in tune enough with us to know when is a good time and when is not?
Yes, to an extent they are. One thing I've found is that with some of the programming and contact that I've had, because as you know, some of my contact has been very negative in nature, more so due to my MyLab situations rather than the ETs. Because of some of the MyLab experiences that I've had, it can leave me with quite a bit of PTSD afterwards, and anxiety and stress and stuff like that. And I found that when I go through periods of high MyLab activity, my ET contact slows down, because I do believe they look at this going, she's got enough on her plate, her health is fine, we're going to just leave her alone and give her a bit of a mental break. And so one thing I have done over the years is I've written down everything from when my cycles are happening to when I'm having contact, what group it is. And so I've really gotten a good idea about when my periods of decreased ET contact occur. And I've also been pretty good about monitoring my stress levels during those periods. And normally when I have too much going on emotionally, like when my stepdad died a couple of years ago, my ET contact slowed right down in the month or so leading up to his death and the couple months following, because they recognized that this was a period of grieving. This was a period when I needed to focus on my 3D life and my 3D reality rather than looking at the evolution of consciousness, rather than looking at the aspect of reality that involves them. And so it was good to have them step back. I mean, they did warn me that he'd be passing. They did tell me that I would have all the support I needed, but they gave me the space to grieve. And so with a lot of these beings, quite often they will give people that they work with, the people that they're in connection with, warning about, oh my goodness, hey, look out. Your sister has a possibility for overdosing. We're just going to give you this message so you can share it with her. That way, hopefully, we can avoid that timeline, that trajectory. Or you need to change this in your diet, otherwise we see this creating a health problem for you in the future. Or one of the warnings they've given me most commonly over the last 6 months is you need to be very careful when you're driving. We're warning you about a possible car accident. And so by giving me those continual warnings and giving me that information, it is their way of saying, hey, look, we do care for you. We're trying to avoid this possibility. This is what needs to happen to prevent it from occurring. And when these events do take place, they do slow down on contact. Same with right after I gave birth to my children, which is a very joyous and wonderful event. My contact slowed down outside of things that were health related, because that was what was needed at that time. It's often done with consideration when it's done by benevolent beings. The malevolent ones, well, it doesn't matter if you're going through the worst day of your life or the best day. If they're going to take you, they're going to take you. So please take that into consideration as well.
So with that, are you, let's say with the beings you're in contact with, if they showed up, say right now, where you're busy during this show, doing this show, could you say to them, turn to them and just say, hey, you know, not a good time right now, little busy, come back in 35 minutes, let me get a break from going on the air with Dave, and we'll make something happen at then. Does it work like that?
For me, yes, with the ones that I have a good kinship with. It's very common for me to get annoyed with these beings when they pop up at what I consider to be inopportune times. So, for instance, one time I was having a friend leaving the house, and I saw this golden ray of energy coming down onto the deck, and I was really annoyed because one of my children was throwing a temper tantrum. I had company leaving. I need to put them to bed. I'm like, not now, not a good time, go away. Or if I find myself walking in the middle of the night, like let's say I'm sleepwalking and one of the dogs wakes me up and I realize I'm sleepwalking and I'm about to have an encounter, I can quite often get very irritable saying, I'm exhausted, I don't want to have an encounter, leave me alone. But I have a good enough kinship with these beings that because they have known me for so long that I'm very comfortable with them, which I realize for a lot of your listenership can be very difficult to comprehend or understand why someone would A, choose to not have contact, or B, had be possible for someone to be able to speak to these beings to that capacity. But that is what brings me back to the initial point, Dave, where I have known these beings for so long and I've worked with them to such an extent that I am comfortable doing that with them. And it does not create any animosity or frustration or hurt feelings within our kinship or our relationship. Do you understand?
I do. A lot of people may not, because there is a stigma that is attached to that. Right?
Well, let me explain something, and perhaps this will be of benefit for your listenership. Because I am in the hybrid program, I tend to be bred with certain people. And one of my people that I've been bred with the most, someone who I consider to be my primary at this time, he and I make really wonderful hybrids together, they wanted to switch him out to allow someone else to breed with me for a different cycle. And I became very irritated with this particular reptilian woman. I got very irritated with some of the beings I was working with, saying, no, I'm breeding with this one or I'm not breeding. And so because I have contracts in place to create these hybrids, they respected that, saying, okay, well, we'll maintain having you breed with this person then, rather than trying someone else with a different genetic combination. So I know that may seem like it's a little bit difficult to comprehend, but when you have these contracts in place, there is a certain degree of wiggle room that people have. And unless you're willing to actually be an advocate for yourself and your rights within your contact experiences, like let's say, Dave, you go up into craft and you have a gray being leading you somewhere. If you see it, ask it questions. If you have the conscious capability to have questions in your mind, use them. And feel free to say to the beings, look, I'm remembering what's going on, or I'm having like a remembrance of, to an extent, of what is occurring. If they realize that, they will respect you more because they're like, oh, this one's remembering. Okay, well, let us try to explain a bit more to you. Let us try to make you more informed as to what is occurring. Quite often, people do not remember the act of making the soul contract, but when these beings realize that you have more of the conscious awareness because your soul is starting the ascension process, because you're having the DNA activate, because you're going through a psychic development or wake-up period, they will give you more information. But most humans, a lot of humans are abducted, and they don't remember it. Your listenership tonight could have an abduction tonight, and they might not remember it tomorrow. They might be like, oh, I had a really rude sleep last night, or oh, I had a really funny dream, something about being on a boat, which not realizing boat, craft, travel, beings, not seeing how there's layers of screen memories in place. And so we do have to take that into consideration when we're looking at the contact experience. If you're having a lot of dreams over and over, like one of my common screen memories is I'll see like a 1940s blimp, and I'm like, there is no way my neighbor has a 1940s blimp hanging out in her backyard. That is impossible, illogical. And so for me, I've realized, okay, that's a screen memory. You have to look at what a lot of your screen memories are. You might find that looking back at your childhood, you had a lot of dreams about clowns, or you had a lot of dreams about large furry animals that were taking you out of your home. You might have screen memories where you have these funny looking people with really big eyes that are coming forward. It's important to start recording the information that you have, to start to see the points of interconnection, to realize where contact has already been occurring. A lot of you who are wanting to initiate contact have had contact. You were just not conscious of when your contact occurred or what it is that occurred during your contact. So hypnosis is a wonderful way to recover a lot of that information and to help you move forward with your contact. One thing we hadn't really talked about that is another way some people do make contact come for them, and I don't recommend this at all, is through the use of certain magical aspects. And so I don't recommend for most people messing around with magic if you don't actually know how to use it or how to understand things like the threefold law and what have you, because it can be a very dangerous way to approach contact. I know, Dave, with such a diverse group of people that you have on your show, you may not you may see other people divide into two camps, the magical aspect or the psychic aspect, and then you may see the ET aspect being very, very different when often they overlap. A lot of people who practice magic naturally have more of a tendency or a capability to contact these beings because they're working with energies, they're working with the multidimensional aspect of what's going on. Do you understand?
I do. Yes.
Good.
Yeah,
So for a lot of...
That makes sense.
Yeah, for a lot of people, whether it's Nostradamus, Nikola Tesla, Aleister Crowley, they were all dealing with different interdimensional beings because they were accessing different points of frequency. Whether it's to predict the future, as is the case of, Nostradamus, or to access technological information, as is the case of Nikola Tesla, or to access the magical manifestation and aspects like that, or the black magic, the sex magic, the white magic, you name it, as is the case of Aleister Crowley. So see how there's different kinds of beings that are interacting with humanity at different points in history, depending upon the intention of the individual, depending upon the energy of the individual, bringing forth different kinds of beings. And so this isn't something really all that new for us. It's just the amount of people that were able to access it has increased. That is the main point of difference.
Samantha, we've got about 8.5 minutes left with you tonight. Not enough time to tell our story about what went on. Mm-hmm. Okay, back in 2014. I'm going to tell everybody that if you want to see that, go check out Samantha's YouTube channel, Samantha Mowat, Mowat. You can see the video right there. It's like 48 minutes long, so you can get comfy and watch that. And we go through every detail of that experience that we had. And it's free on YouTube. But recently, the last 4.5 weeks, I had a dream experience where you were there along with some friends. We kind of mentioned it earlier. Here's one of the things that is tripping me out a little bit. I've been really into this series called Hellier, which I let you know about earlier. And before I watched season 2, and this incident happened, I remembered seeing what looked like a stingray at the bottom of this craft in my dream. And I called you the next morning because you were there along with some friends. And the funny part about it was, previous to this, and you and I hadn't talked in weeks, I had mentioned about the stingray, and then you had mentioned that you had also been seeing stingrays around as well. Well, now on the Hellier 2 series, Alan Greenfield, who will be our guest on January 1st, he mentioned when it came to UFOs about stingrays being on UFOs or in the shape of UFOs. This is where synchronicity kind of trips me out a little bit when things like this happen.
Well, I can understand how this would quote-unquote trip you out a little bit. But, I mean, you have to look at the different kinds of stingrays that you have coming forward. Are you seeing these as beings? Are you seeing these as craft? The stingrays that I saw in some of my multidimensional encounters, yes, they did appear below the water, but the way that these beings moved was not akin to that of what we see the Earth stingrays moving. It wasn't doing its arms flapping in the same motion. It was moving like it contained things within it. The entire back of the ones I saw was glowing in like a very beautiful fluorescent type color, as though they were illuminated from the inside of the body, projecting light out of them. And this was in an encounter where they were showing me my next property. So you do have to look at what the different synchronicities are telling you. Also, it does help when you're having synchronicity overload to look up the symbolism behind the animal that is in place. In this situation, a stingray. In others, birds, cats, whatever, it does not matter. So, Dave, when you're talking to this gentleman about not only an encounter that you have, but you're also going to want to take into consideration what he has to tell you about this, because what he chooses to mention to you would partially be dictated by his guides and yours about what is appropriate for you to hear at that time, and there would be messages being given to you accordingly.
I never saw stingrays before in the air. Never saw them. It's not supposed to happen, Samantha.
But one thing I do want to mention, because we're on the topic of stingrays, is when I saw stingrays in my multidimensional encounter, they were on a very high frequency dimension. The beings that were interacting with me in this encounter were crystal beings and light beings who were comprised not in the same way that we are of flesh and blood and bone, but made of energy and light. And their density, although partially see-through, came in a whole gambit of colors, and they were some of the most beautiful, magical beings you could possibly imagine or to have come forward to you. And they projected nothing but love and kindness to me. And so you have to look at your own encounter, Dave, going, okay, well, what did I feel in this encounter? What information was released to me? What are the underlying tones within this experience? Because it will tell you the intention of the beings, but it'll also tell you about the information that they were giving you, and, most importantly, what their frequency was like. Because once you have your ET encounters, when you start looking at the frequency being emitted by the beings interacting with you, and you start to become familiar with it and to recognize it, when you're having downloads of information coming into your mind or telepathic information coming into your head, if you can recognize the source, whom the energy is coming from, you can discern whether you can trust the information, and if so, to what extent you can trust it and how relevant it is. If you are recognizing that the energy coming to you, although, let's say it is coming from a humanoid type being and it feels like it's off planet, if it feels like it's twisted, chaotic, a little bit not necessarily as love-based or as... for instance, if an angel is talking to you and an angel is warning you that there's going to be a death in your family, although they are giving you information about something very challenging coming forward to you, it will be done in a way that is very loving and with a sense of support. Whereas if a being who is not of a high vibration, let's say a lower astral entity or a deceased human, is saying, hey, you've got death around you, someone's going to die, it's going to feel panicky, stressful, out of your control. You have to identify what emotions are coming to you when you are receiving information and what the vibration is that is coming to you. Energy is very important in all ET contact because these beings, most of them do not speak with words in the way that you and I do. They speak in blocks of information through telepathy. And so when you say, I want to meet ETs, I want to do this, great, work on your psychic abilities, become more psychic. By being more psychic, you will receive more information from them so that when you meet them, they can actually talk to you clearly and not have misinterpretation occurring. A lot of you, as much as they'd love to meet you, they would have a hard time getting their point across because you might get a headache when they're speaking to you. You might only catch a small fragment of what it is they're intending to say to you. You think in sentences, they think in images. An image tells you 1,000 words. A sentence tells you a few. You have to learn how to think differently. It is very important.
We've only got about just over 90 seconds left with you tonight, Samantha. And once again, time has gone way too fast in having you on. But I know you're going to be doing more of this very, very soon. I just have a feeling. That you might be back on our airways a little bit more in 2020, which I'm very, very thankful for because you deserve it. You really do. I think you're one of the brightest minds in ufology.
Thank you.
And it has to continue. It really has to continue, and you know, we'll always be your number one fans here. But do me a favor, tell everybody where they can get a hold of you in case they want a reading, in case they want to learn about ET contact or more from you, your YouTube channel, website, everything.
So you can YouTube Samantha Mowat and find my channel. It's pretty straightforward. It's MOWAT, super easy. My website is samanthamowat.ca. I recommend probably texting me or giving me a call because I'm still catching up on emails. There's still several hundred to get back to. I'm going as fast as I can, but I had a technological glitch, but that's okay. It has been sorted out. If you're wanting to just learn about the ETs, I would recommend just watching YouTube. It's so much easier. You can send me an email, but I might not get back to you for a few months. I am one of those people who I'm not a strong, I'm not good when it comes to getting back to people through email because my phone is always my priority, and so I will get back to you much faster if you just send me a text message than if you were to email me. That's a very simple fact of the matter.
Very, very true, my friend. Merry Christmas to you, your family, and everybody surrounding you. Hope you stay warm up there in northern British Columbia where, oh, goodness, you're way higher up than I am. Way higher up than I am. And I'm way up there. I know.
We're good.
We definitely are. That's right. The British Columbia powers of UFOs and aliens compels you. More Spaced Out Radio with the SOR Newswire and the thought of the day as we head into Christmas. We'll be right back.
Move over, brother, and let me own Saturday night. This is Rich Giordano, and I'm inviting you to tune on in to Spaced Out Saturdays starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, 12 a.m. Eastern, where I'm going to bust open the lids on everything paranormal. Why? Because we want answers, and I'm the guy who's going to deliver those answers to you. Join the chat rooms, and we'll see you this Saturday. Just be there. No, really.
Hey, Spaced Out Radio fans! It's John Resig, founder of the CHIVE and CHIVE Charities. Our goal is to make the life of veterans, first responders, and those with rare medical conditions 10% happier. We do this by donating one grant item, ranging from dance to therapy programs to prosthetic limbs, to those who need it most. To contribute to Spaced Out Radio's official charity, head over to chivecharities.org and become a donor today.
A little bit of science, a little bit of skepticism. Add a dash of snark and you have the makings of Spaced Out Sundays with me, Everett Thiemer. Together we will look into the reality of the paranormal with an open eye and rational thought. Oh, did I mention there'll be plenty of woo as well? Your time spent with Spaced Out Sundays will make the night even better. The chat rooms are open, 9:06 p.m. Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, right here at spacedoutradio.com.
Every night on Spaced Out Radio, we have places for you to hang out. Hi, this is Carl. Join our SOR Space Travelers group on Facebook for live chat. On Twitter, using hashtag Spaced Out Radio. You can also join us in our Spreaker chat room. Check us out on Instagram at Dave Scott SOR. All of our archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. By the way, I'll be watching you at your window until you do. Bye!
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot THAL, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at MightyMooseBeard.com today.
Hey everybody, the SOR Space Travelers is open. For just $5 a month, you can hang out with Dave and our crew privately in our members-only section. With your signing, you'll receive newsletters on what's going on with Spaced Out Radio. You'll have direct contact with the host during the show in our chat, live streaming videos, and a great forum for your posts and more. Become a space traveler now at spacedoutradio.com.
You wanted new SOR gear, and now you can have it. The SOR Vault is fully stocked with t-shirts, hats, hoodies, mugs, and everything in between with great logos for you to choose from. So head on over to spacedoutradio.com, click on the SOR Vault, and go shopping. Pricing is quite affordable, and you can look good representing your favorite show. So go to our website and pick up your new SOR wear at the SOR Vault today. We're adding to the entertainment online for Spaced Out Radio. I'm Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out Cryptid Tales, where I will take you on a journey into some of the strangest legends and lore from around the world, relaying the stories to you of the strange creatures and experiences that people have had throughout time. You can find Cryptid Tales at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio, and while you're there, don't forget to check out our free archives and leave a comment. See you there.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
At spacedoutradio.com, we have a little bit of everything for you to stay up late. So while you're there, check out our SOR Newswire, where our team brings you stories of the weird and strange to the WTF from around the globe. News on Bigfoot, UFOs, paranormal, Darwinian-type crime tales. It's the stories that the mainstream media usually won't touch. Well, we got them all on the SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com. Rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Merry Christmas to each and every one of you listening on in to tonight's program. Really appreciate it. I hope you get to have a great time. If you're in northern Canada, just through Alberta, now into the Northwest Territories, old Santa Claus has made his way through, according to NORADSanta.org. And you know they're watching him. Oh, yes, you know. All of these black projects are watching him. Probably got one of them, SR-74s or 75s that Michael Schratt talks about, speeding away with him there in that hypersonic range. Oh, I think it looks good. Santa's doing a great job tonight. Great, great job. If you see him up in the sky, tell him to stop at old SOR headquarters here, because we've been good this year. We've been very, very good this year. Let's get to Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire, shall we? The news is always changing, which is why we bring you the SOR Newswire at the back end of every show, where we get to the weird, the strange, and sometimes really, really out there. This one scares a little bit for me, because biblically, we could be in trouble here. We really could be in trouble. A Utah man is blurring the line between man and machine by implanting chips in his hands that allows him to, among other things, unlock his Tesla. Ben Workman of Provo says he currently has 4 chips implanted in his hands, including an electronic Tesla key that allows him to unlock his car with a wave of his hand. I play tricks on people who don't know why I have it in my hand. I try and convince them a banana is the key. Then I hold up a banana and the chip unlocks the door. The other chips in Workman's hands allow him to unlock doors at work, log on and off on his computer, and share contact information using the same technology as Apple Pay and Google Pay. He said most of the chips were installed by a family member, but he required that help of a piercing studio to implant the Tesla key. Workman says he also has a magnetic implant in his left hand that he uses for magic tricks. Oh, isn't that nice? Isn't that nice? Satan, are you around in Utah and Provo? Maybe. People who have lived on a tiny Canadian island for decades have slowly been abandoning their town after the government announced it would be cutting off power and other services for good. Only 2 people plan to stay living on Little Bay Islands, a town in Newfoundland and Labrador in the country's far east, going into 2020. The Canadian government has given residents on the small island a December 31st deadline before they permanently cut off services, including electricity, snow removal, and even ferries. Almost all of the island's residents have now abandoned their homes for good and have headed back to the mainland ahead of Christmas. However, Mike and Georgina Parsons are the only 2 who have chosen to stay in the ghost town that up until recently had a population of 71. The desertion of the town comes after residents of Little Bay Islands voted unanimously earlier this year to resettle after years of failed attempts. The years-long push to resettle slowly fractured the once tight-knit community, with Island's fish plant closing in 2011 and the only school shutting its doors 4 years ago. According to official data, the government will save roughly $20 million over the next 2 decades from the relocation. The savings will mostly come from cutting the ferry service to the island. The Parsons have spent $50,000 preparing to stay on the island once the government officially deserts it. Good for them. That would be cool. You have your own little island. Go into any building you want. Any building. You know there's going to be something forgotten that's going to be really cool. Go for it. Yeah, they've been stockpiling up on medication, dry and canned goods, and now have 6 freezers full of protein to last 2 years. They've also got half a dozen boats in case they need to get themselves to the mainland, despite possibly being stuck on the island for up to 6 weeks due to Arctic ice in the winter. We're not nervous at all, Georgina said during an interview. It feels a little bit unreal. Her husband Mike added, the town has gotten much quieter any day now. People are packing up and leaving. The government has paid out residents as part of a resettlement program to help them relocate elsewhere in Canada. The relocation has brought some controversy, however, with some residents who own homes on the island claiming they were given nothing by the government. Those residents who said they paid taxes on the island for years were told they weren't eligible for compensation because they only lived there part-time. Oh well, move on. You're out. Goodbye. A U.S. Roman Catholic church in southwestern Louisiana has come up with a novel way of blessing its parish. Reverend Matthew Barzer of St. Anne Church in the rural community of Cow Island took up the suggestion of a parishioner to spray 100 gallons or 454 liters of holy water from an airplane. His parish is spread over a wide area, so Reverend Barzer decided a crop dusting plane would be a good solution. Oh, Captain Shirk, where do you find these on such holy nights? There are plans to make this an annual event using 300 gallons. The water was sprayed onto the town and surrounding farms in the run-up to Christmas. The Diocese of Lafayette said the idea came from parishioner Laren Detraz, a resident of Cow Island, currently working as a missionary in Ohio. There is a tradition of blessing the fields in the local community, especially around harvest times. The Reverend said churchgoers carried water to a local airstrip where it was blessed before being loaded onto the aircraft. All right, that's actually kind of cool. All right, a dog that joined in with the North Carolina charity run for 15 miles has a new home in time for the holidays. This is a great story. The American Staffordshire Terrier, named Max, surprised members of the Nog Run Club in Dunn when he joined them for a charity run and jogged alongside human runners for 15 miles. Max was taken to the Wake County Animal Center, where officials said they were able to contact the previous owners, but they didn't want him back. Jerks. Just jerks. Who does that? Anyways, the canine was adopted this week by Chad Duffy. Good for you, Chad, who said he and his wife had been looking for a dog to run with them. I think he could probably run a marathon if he really wanted to. Well, he just did. He just has that endless energy. We've done probably close to 20 miles with him in the past 3 days, and I still cannot contain it. What a blessing to our family. That is awesome. That is completely awesome. All right. Let's check NORAD Santa here. Where is he? Oh, he's heading into British Columbia here. Heading into British Columbia. Fort St. John. Oh, he's right at the tip. Right at the northeastern tip of this province. Making his way here. Oh, I'm going to run outside as soon as the show is over because I got to see this. Totally got to see this. Love it. Anyhow, speaking of NORAD Santa, depending on which country they're from, the kids may ask about Father Christmas, Papa Noel, Saint Nick, or Santa Claus. But those who believe all want to know one thing: where in the world the jolly old man and his sleigh full of gifts are on Christmas Eve. For the 64th year in a row, a widely popular program by the U.S. and Canadian militaries is providing real-time updates on Santa's progress to millions around the globe. And this year, NORAD is offering even more high-tech ways for children and parents to follow along. Operation NORAD Track Santa has evolved from a misdirected telephone call in 1955 to a trailer park outside of Cheyenne Mountain to NORAD's modern-day headquarters at Colorado's Peterson Air Force Base. Along the way, the tens of thousands of telephone calls fielded by NORAD volunteers each year have been augmented by an explosion of technology that lets millions track St. Nick's journey from the North Pole to the Pacific and Asia, from Europe to the Americas. This year's portals include Alexa, OnStar, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and 3D apps developed for mobile devices by Cesium, a Philadelphia-based IT and defense contractor. The apps integrate geospatial and satellite positioning technology with high-resolution graphics that display the actual positions of the stars, sun, and moon, and the shadows they cast at any point in Santa's journey. It takes a village of dozens of tech firms, including Google, Microsoft, Hewlett-Packard, and Bing Maps, to deliver the immersive effect for global Santa trackers, with some 15 million visits to the website alone last year. And it takes a village of 1,500 volunteers to field emails and the 140,000 or so phone calls to 1-877-HI-NORAD. The staff phone banks equipped with monitors inside a building at Peterson, which offers a view of snow-capped peaks to the west. More volunteers and firms donate food, water, and coffee to those on the Santa Watch. Hi, Santa trackers. Lots of kids are waiting to ask you about Santa, a sign reads. Volunteers are equipped with an Operations Center playbook that helps ensure each and every caller gets to go to sleep happy and satisfied on Christmas Eve. Longtime Santa trackers are familiar with NORAD Santa's story. In 1955, Air Force Colonel Harry Shoup, the commander on duty one night at NORAD's predecessor, the Continental Air Defense Command, fielded a call from a child who dialed a misprinted telephone number in a newspaper department store ad, thinking she was calling Santa. A fast-thinking Shoup quickly assured her his call that he was Santa, and a tradition was born. Today, most early calls come from Japan and Europe. The volume soars in the U.S. and Canada, said program manager Preston Schlachter. United Kingdom callers ask about Father Christmas. Those in France generally seek Papa Noel's whereabouts. For team members, once Big Red, Santa's code name is Airborne. Schlachter says it's off to the races. I've never had a block of time move so quickly, he says. All right, where is he? Is he close? Oh, he's already down the east. He's got to come up the center here. He's down by Cranbrook, British Columbia, which is in the southeast. He's going to probably cross into the Dakotas there or someplace like that. Montana, maybe? Is that Montana? I think it's Montana. Oh, I'm getting excited. He's getting closer. Anyways, let's get to the thought of the day, shall we? Thought of the day happens every night at this time, as we ask a question on our Facebook and Twitter pages, then read your responses on the air because, well, we love the audience participation around here. Today's Thought of the Day is as follows. What do you love about Christmas? You know, I'm going to start off with this one, if you don't mind, because I would like to. I want to say a big thank you to each and every one of you who have listened this year, whether you listen every night or whether it's once in a blue moon when you have an opportunity to do so. What a pleasure it is for me to sit up here in the middle of nowhere, British Columbia, and to be able to talk to each and every one of you every night. It is an absolute pleasure. It is an absolute honor to be able to do this each and every night. And we don't get paid for this. We don't. We're working towards that because we want to make sure that we're everywhere eventually. That's what we want to do. Will we get there? I think so. Got to stay positive, right? I think we will. People like all of you listening in really help that cause, really help generate that energy. And that's what we feed off of every night. I want to say a big thank you to every guest we have had on in 2019. What a pleasure to get to know some of these people. I mean, yes, we have our regulars like Varla Ventura or Butch Witkowski, R. Keith Andrews, Geraldine Orozco, Merle, William Pullen, Chris Cogswell, John Tenney, David Weatherly. I mean, these are good, solid people. Good, solid people who help make us stronger each and every month. Karen Dahlman coming in on the Halloween show every year for the past 4 years. That's pretty awesome. We got some big names this year. David Politis, Steve Istall, George Knapp, all stopped by to talk with all of you. And what a pleasure it was. Absolute pleasure. I want to thank my team, if you don't mind. I want to thank my team because, past and present of 2019. Start off with Captain Shirk. Does an amazing job busting her butt every day to make sure we have news to read on the show and you guys have news to read on our website. You're amazing, Captain. Merry Christmas to you. I want to say a big thank you to Jim Mallard, who stepped up back in late summer, early fall, and grabbed the horns to our website and took it over. Jim has become a real backbone of what we are doing on the business side of everything, and he's been successful with the Mallard Report. And I really needed that extra set of eyes, and Jim has filled in perfectly. I want to say thanks to Chuck Contreras, owner of KZFX and KDUN, and he is helping us with our syndication as well. Unfortunately, he had to replace one of his stations because KZFX, the building there, was literally almost destroyed due to those two massive earthquakes this past summer in Ridgecrest, California. But Chuck is one of our biggest fans, and Chuck, we thank you so much. I want to talk about, I never mentioned his name, but I'm going to mention his name, Ashi, who is my investment partner on Spaced Out Radio. This is a gentleman who I have known for 18 years. He's the owner of the Moose Vancouver. So you hear our official party bar during our breaks. That's who our investor is the owner there. And Ashi is one of the best dudes you can ever meet. We've had an up and down year with SOR on a business side. We started off the year thinking really, really positive things. And we're going to end the year thinking very positive things as we head into 2020. And he's put a lot of faith in us to get this done, and we're going to keep on going. But you guys don't hear from him. He'll never be on the show, but he's a major part of what we do, and we thank him every day for that. I want to say a big thank you to Everett Thiemer and Rich Giordano for solidifying the weekend show. Two good guys, very, very good guys who were, I've known them for a long time in this business, and they're pros. They're pros, and to have them on the team makes us very much stronger, very much stronger. To Bob, who introduces me every single show, love you, Bob. You're the best. One of the best voices I've ever heard in radio comes from Bob. So make sure you show him some love. Amber Beckerud, who takes over Cryptid Tales. She runs our YouTube channel as well. This is a young lady we brought on as a guest earlier in this show, and this year, and she just so impressed me that we had to get her involved. We just had to. We had no choice, and thankfully she was available and wanting to do it, and she has really, really helped out with bringing us some new momentum on the website as well as some great momentum on our YouTube channel. And Catherine James, phenomenal person, takes care of all of our social media, makes us look good, has done a bunch of our logo designs for our SOR Vault store. She's the best. She's had a pretty tough time. If you guys knew really how hard of a time she has had in 2019 to be able to do the work that she has done to help us out on a volunteer level, it has been phenomenal. And am I leaving anybody out? I'm kind of going down the list. Also want to give a shout out to a couple people who are no longer with SOR in 2019, but they did a lot to help us out. First off, Tessa, who now has her own podcast show. Tessa really helped us out over the last year in really strengthening her game as a podcaster. And, she was just very, very strong. And, when we made the change on the weekends, sometimes changes have to be made, but Tessa contributed a lot to this show. I still have a lot of love and admiration for her. She's a good heart, a good person, and we thank her for her efforts. Also, Amy Martin for coming in and helping set up this studio, helping set up where we are on a business plan, and her contributions to Spaced Out Radio are phenomenal as well and heard every night as well. So we thank her for the efforts as well. But, you can't just thank the people who are here today. You have to thank the people who were here yesterday as well, because that's the reason why we're in the seat where we're in, where we're able to try and get a little bit further ahead each and every day, because that's what we're trying to do. And we're doing it all for you. You guys like us. You guys keep pushing us. How can you help us out? Do a little shopping at the SOR Vault. Grab great books that we have from some fantastic authors at We Read the Night. It's connected to Amazon right there. You know of a good business? Send them our way for advertisement. Join the Space Travelers Club. $5 a month. You want to help us out? You want to be a part of it? I want to see pictures. If you've bought T-shirts or anything from our store, send me the photos. I want to put them on our website. That's how we help. That's how we grow. Because we're doing this all together. Where's Santa? Where is he? Holy cow, he's in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, heading for Arizona right now before he makes a turn back up north. I'm going to get ready to watch this because I'm pretty excited. I know all of you have things that you got to do as well, but hey, joining me tonight on Christmas Eve is very, very special, and I hope we made it special for you as well. I'm still not sure about tomorrow night. We may be live, we may be recorded. It's going to be a last-minute decision on what's happening on the Christmas front at Old SOR headquarters. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot THAL rocking us in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at work, at home, in your cars, in our chat rooms on LGAB, Revolution Radio, Spreaker, Facebook, the SOR Space Travelers Club on our website, and all you snarky folks at hashtag Spaced Out Radio on Twitter. You know I love you. Derek, I hope you enjoyed your Christmas woo tonight, because I did it for you. Merry woo, miss to all you Twitterites. Remember, my friends, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you for sharing your Christmas Eve with us. I love you all. Be safe this holiday, because together, my friends, say it with me, we own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to bring Santa over to Dave Scott's house. Have a great Christmas, everybody. Maybe we'll talk to you tomorrow. Maybe not. If not, we'll be here on the 26th. Richard Bannock is our guest on that night. Merry Christmas. Good night.